go. There we go. We're officially live.
Cool. Excelente.
Officially leave. No longer live, just leave.
Why is the chat not up on stream? Oh, there is. There is.
Because you're drunk, Jay, that's why.
People hadn't posted. Yeah, it was just like, that's weird. There's always chat there.
Well, yeah. It doesn't start until we switch over to the actual scene, which we don't do until we officially go live. So I
thought it scrolled it in the background, but clearly it doesn't. I just assumed that would carry on scrolling on that screen in the background, but apparently not.
Go back to bed, Jay.
Well, it is 2 a.m. It is 2 a.m. for me.
Yeah. Shout out to Chad11, who did subscribe at Tier 1. Thank you so much. And he says, hey guys, thanks for all you do for the community. That is very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that.
We try. We try to be nice-ish people. That's all we really do.
Nice-ish. Yeah.
Okay. The Key Company also subbing at Tier 1. Yo. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Jason. And do we miss anyone? Yeah, the new mini feed in OBS is just broken. It's not picking up everyone. That's interesting.
Interesting. Noxygen as well. Thank you very much for the 3-month streak. He says yeet.
Yeet and retreat. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I think I'm just old, but I'm still not sure I understand how to use yeet in a conversation. I'm not sure I'd ever want to, but if I did, I'm still not certain.
Well, I think
I really know how to use it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard it used so many different ways now that I'm not really sure which one is proper. So I pretty much just never use it.
Yeah. Talisman, thank you very much for the tier 1 sub, 13 months. Thank you very much, dude. And Penguin as well for 5 months too. Thank you, dude.
Thank you so much, guys. As usual, we're just doing our little pre-show right now, making sure everything is working all right. If you're wondering what's going on, we will officially start the show in about 5, 6, 7 minutes or so.
Or so, yeah.
Or so. Yeah.
People asking where my Ock mug is. It's not around today. Sorry, guys. It's not available today.
You're not drinking?
Maybe it'll be back next week.
Not drinking Ock?
No, not today. No. Maybe next week.
There's a severe lack of Ock in this stream. Slippery Pete says, y'all see that movie where the Spartan kicks someone into a hole? That is yeeting. Okay.
This is Sparta. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was from 300? Is that what the movie was?
Yeah, 300, yeah. Do you know who was in the film 300, Brian? Can you remember?
I feel like I should. I've only seen it once, and when I saw it, it was new. I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters.
Okay.
I don't remember who was in it, though. I don't really know much about actors and stuff, and I tend not to care too much.
Yeah, Chad 11 in chat's got it. Gerard Butler, he was the main guy in it. Yeah.
Gerard Butler? Okay.
Yeah, Gerard Butler. I think he's Scottish, right? Is he Scottish? I think he's Scottish.
No idea. We are almost at 69, says Lube Helios. Yeah, we're getting there.
Close.
What about Yote? I don't know. Well, Yote would be the past tense of yeet, right?
Is it the past tense or the future tense? I will yote or I have yoted.
Oh, okay. What would the past tense be then?
Yeeted.
You would just say yeeted, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Imagine spending the top Clack pre-show on trying to wrap our old brains around yeet.
Modern dialect. Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. How do I use LOL again, Brian? What's that for?
I'm trying to think of something witty that LOL can stand for that it doesn't actually stand for, but I am like, my brain is just like not here today, so.
Love over loss. There we go. Let's go with that. Love over loss.
Love over loss. Lots of lemons. I like that. Lots of love. That's good too. That's wholesome. Lots of ligma. You're banned, Geo. Ban him quick.
Where's the ban button?
I'm trying to find it. I think you can just.
I don't know what that is either.
I think you can just do /ban.
Can you?
I think
slash ban all. Yes, winning. Yes, that's what I'll do.
Wow. Could you imagine banning the entire chat? That'd be pretty extreme.
Well, there's a little bit of a joke about the mods on the UK Discord, because whenever they've been talking about, like things happen in Discord servers, and there's always dramas and things happening and people saying the wrong things. So there's always like the mods in the UK Discord take it quite seriously, and they discuss what they're going to do and actions and stuff. And of course, our mods do that on our server as well. But I'm a mod in name only really on the UK server. I don't really do any modding. So every time there's a conversation going, I just put in ban the lot of them. Just ban the lot of them. That's all I ever comment in that channel.
Oh man. Pilot XJ was asking, did you see the crowd-named pistol from High Point, the Yeet Cannon, the world's first meme firearm? Is that real?
Firearm.
Is that real?
That's terrible if it is.
I don't know. The Yeet Cannon sounds pretty intense. That sounds fun.
It sounds like something from Overwatch or something. It sounds like a video game.
You don't even play Overwatch.
I have played Overwatch.
Like 1 game, 2 games. Then you just
uninstalled. I did a couple hundred games when it first came out.
Okay.
More on the PS4 than on the PC though. I'm a console scrub when it comes to video games. Tracer Glowtail, thank you very much for the 7 months of subs. He said, hope you guys are doing great. Getting hyped for SA Laser, only a couple of weeks till it ships. Oh wow, I didn't realise that was up for shipping soon. That's interesting. Tectonic Plate as well, subscribed for 15 months. 10 strong with Twitch Prime sub for 6 months, saying all right. Nice.
Thank you all so much. The Yeet Cannon. Come on,
Pilots.
Jay. We need to get a Yeet Cannon.
I'm probably sure it's not legal in the UK.
Yeah. That's a good name though. That's a good name. Clockwork asking, what's your favorite keycap case combo that's currently available? Keycap case combo that's currently available.
Can I be really selfish and say GMK Ivory on the JO1?
That's pretty selfish, yeah.
It is selfish, but it's how I feel right now.
I don't think I have one.
I'll be honest. What my expected favorite one coming though is I've got the Iron 165 FE at the side of me right now. That with GMK Cafe, that will potentially be the next #1 in terms of like.
Can you have a favorite key set if it doesn't exist yet? Do you have a favorite combo if part of it doesn't?
That's why exist? That's why I qualified it with the word potential. It has the potential. Let's just see how it works out.
Yeah, just like the Yeet Cannon.
Just like the Yeet Cannon.
Just like the Yeet Cannon.
If I buy you a Yeet Cannon, Brian, will you yeet a keyboard with it?
Yes, I will, Jay. I can sacrifice a keyboard. It might not be an expensive keyboard, but we can find a keyboard to yeet.
Yeah, well, it has to be an equivalent value of the gun. Whatever the Yeet Cannon costs.
Whoa! That's not fair. What if it costs like $1,000?
Of course it's fair.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Of course it's fair.
I'm not gonna yote $1,000 keyboard if the cannon's $1,000.
Gun is $200. There you go. It's only $200.
Oh, it is. I mean, this is a dumb conversation.
I'm glad you finally twigged to that. It is a very dumb conversation.
I knew it from the start. But, yeah. PMS and Chicken subs at tier 1. Thank you so much, man. I suppose we should actually officially start this show, huh?
Yeah, we probably should do.
All right, I guess we can do that.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world today. I'm hoping you're having a cracking day. Welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. It is the 24th of October. We're getting towards the end of the year now. Brian, how are you feeling, good sir?
I am incredibly tired, incredibly exhausted, but I still want to talk about keyboards. So
that's always good to hear, because funnily enough, we have a packed news stock. Well, it's not that packed actually this week. It's a little bit quiet than last week.
It's pretty reasonable.
But there is a lot of keyboard related news items on there, so I'm glad you're willing to talk about keyboards.
Only for you, Jay. I wouldn't do this for anyone except for you, obviously.
Just for me, just for me. And speaking of keyboards, have you had anything interesting happen this week? Has anything cropped up this week that you've thought was interesting? Or
as far as topics, or
anything?
Do you mean the mail call?
Yeah, no, just in general keyboard stuff. Have you done anything that's
I don't entirely understand what you're asking.
I just mean, like, is anything happening in your world? Is there anything you're looking forward to? You know, not mail call necessarily, not the stuff that's come in, but is there anything that you're...
Yes, there are things I am looking forward to, actually, but part of it pertains to the mail call. So why don't we just roll right into that?
Okay.
And
sure.
I'll start off this week, because I have things, Jay. I have more than zero things this week. It's amazing. So the first thing I got this week is GMK 9s, which I haven't actually put it on a keyboard yet. It's still in its tray, but it looks pretty good in person. It actually looks better than I was expecting. You can't really see it on the webcam, but you know, yeet, yote, whatever, YOLO. So I'm still trying to figure out what board to put this on, but I'm pretty excited for it. So we'll figure out something to put that on later.
Nice. I've got it on my JO2. It's a lovely set.
Well, I mean, I would have it on my JO2 if I had a JO2.
Well, just buy one when the group buy comes around.
Oh, yes, perfect. Also, you can't entirely tell what this is, because it's coated in paper, of course. This is an acrylic board. This is the Perry 60 V2. It's currently disassembled and still has all the paper on it, of course, so you can't really entirely see its glory. But I will be building that pretty soon. This is the one that I was actually shipping out with the group buys. So the one I built previously on stream was more like a prototype, and it wasn't exactly where they wanted it. But this is, apparently. So
nice.
I'm excited to check that out. I'm hopefully going to be building that tomorrow, actually, on stream. So that'll be pretty cool. KBDfans also sent us some of these new laser switches. These are like the Mythos collaboration for the laser colorway that is very popular. Sold a lot of units, and these are the switches that are supposed to match those. So I have 70 of each of the varieties. Like there's one with a cyan stem that's 60 gram bottom out force, and the I think it's a pink stem. This is 70 gram bottom out force. So a couple different options there. Pretty stoked to lube those up and put those in something. But what really surprised me this week, actually, was the marshmallow switches. So I don't know if you remember, last week on the show we talked about the Thick Thok marshmallow switches that are going into group buys soon. We checked out the interest check thread. Well, they sent us a couple samples, like literally a couple. I only have 2, which is really unfortunate because they feel incredible.
Really?
They feel really, really, really incredible. And I really want to do a full build with these. So I'm kind of like poking at them to see if I can try to get enough for a full build sometime when they get more in. Because these are really, really interesting. And he sent me a little handwritten note with it as well, which is kind of cute.
Do you think that behavior of the switches is going to carry on across the like a whole board's worth, or do you think maybe they're cherry picked, or?
Okay, this is something I'm always worried about, right? Because I hate to use the word influencers. I know you hate that word too. I hate it.
I do.
I hate saying it. I hate hearing it. But the fact of the matter is, whether it's top clack or not, what a lot of people will do, and I'm not saying they did this or not, but it's always a possibility. What people will do is they'll cherry pick switches, or they'll cherry pick whatever product that they're sending you to review. That way you get the best that it could possibly be, which is actually awful from our end. I would hate to review only the best of everything, because then when we say how good it is, people actually get them, and the product winds up being mediocre, and everyone comes after us because we said it was good, because the ones that we got were good. I hate that. Send me the worst. Cherry pick the worst from it and then send it to me. I need a baseline here. So I'm really hoping that didn't happen here, but if the rest of the marshmallow switches are like this, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by how good these are.
Interesting. Yeah, okay. I'm definitely going to have to pick some of them up because, I'm interested to try them. If a couple feel that nice, it tends to suggest that they've got potential. So, yeah, interesting. So in terms of the feel, is it just that they're really smooth, or is it that they're, What feels good about them? What's the good qualifications?
I happen to like the stock spring quite a bit. So this one ships with their 68 gram MP series, is what they're calling it, magically progressive. It's not the most progressive thing in the entire world. I'm sure there are more progressive springs out there, but these actually feel reasonably bouncy, which I like quite a bit.
Okay.
And I haven't noticed any kind of spring ping or crunch or anything. They actually feel like pretty solid springs.
Interesting.
In terms of smoothness, it could be the smoothest linear I've ever felt stock. It's at least on par with Telios and Inks, if not better. But they almost...
That's high praise.
Yeah, they almost feel... They almost feel like a cream switch, a Novel Keys cream. It feels like a slightly better version of that. And I really like the cream switches, so maybe that's why I like these so much. But it has a very similar feeling of that, but smoother. And spring way better. Plus, they're pretty adorable, too. The color is pretty cool.
They look great. I do. Yeah, I've got to admit, they do look fantastic.
Yeah. And they are PCB mount, too, which is nice. I'm so sick of seeing plate mount switches, man. Sick. Why do people do that anymore?
Man, it's 2019. You know, why do we even have plates anymore, right?
Yeah. Right. Switch everything over to the Jur 80 or whatever that board's called.
yeah, PCB mount, the IDB60's PCB mount as well, and the there's another board, the Equinox, the 40%, that's a PCB mount as well. Yeah, lots of PCB mount boards.
Yeah. All right, man. What did you get this week?
I actually got a load of stuff, but I'm in the middle of packing for the UK meetup, which is not. Well, it's actually tomorrow for me because it's Friday here, but it's on Saturday. So I can't show half the stuff, so I might have to show it next week. The only thing that I did get today, which I haven't packed or done anything with or isn't hidden under a pile of stuff, is after you got 2 of these last week, Brian, and said on stream that you were going to keep them both. Leandrin from Mechanisk,
which was a joke, by the way.
One of these lovely PCBs. It actually came in really nice packaging as well. I don't know if you showed the packaging, but it actually comes in these PCB boxes. It's got a little bit damaged in shipping, but these are really nice. And as well as that, he did send us a really lovely letter. I'm not going to read this out on show, but I've already shared this with Brian. So, Leandrin, if you're watching this, thank you very, very much for writing us this letter. It was very much appreciated. I will send a copy to Brian because you sent me 2 copies. I'll make sure he gets hold of one of those to keep. But it was very, very thoughtful and very nice. So thank you.
I cried before the show when I read it.
He actually messaged me and said,
teared up
why is he making me cry before the show? He literally messaged me and said that.
That guy's just way too nice. It's just
he is.
He's like Mike level nice, Novel Keys level nice.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so rolling on from the mail call. As I say, I'll probably have an extended mail call next time because I can't get hold of stuff this week. But in terms of announcements, the first thing we want to call out this week is around GMK Pretty in Pink. If you haven't already picked it up, there's a few days left. Go pick up the set, go buy the set, support the charities, do the thing, click the button, send the monies, do all the stuff because it's a really, really good charity. It's really well worth supporting. Just go buy it, please, guys, please.
I need not to distract from the topic because it is very important, but I need a shirt that says "Do the things, click the buttons, send the money." Top Clack branded shirt, courtesy of Jay.
Yeah,
love it.
Okay, cool. Someone should clip that, and we should have it on the Discord server as well. So someone should clip me saying that. So yeah, if anyone's watching, go clip it. Mountain Blocks as well. Just before we carry on, thank you very much for the 222 bits saying Happy Thursday. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much. But yes, guys, just real quick, Pretty in Pink. Make sure you buy it. The set is questionably going to hit MOQ. It might not. We don't really know for sure yet. But if it doesn't, it's going to be really sad for our community if we can't all meet MOQ on a very small, inexpensive add-on kit that goes to a really good cause. It's going to be very negatively reflecting on our community if we're not able to hit that MOQ. So make sure you do the things, click the buttons, and send the money.
Exactly. Do those things. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Mountain Blocks is offering us to make the shirts with the quote. Please do. If you make the shirt, yes. I will pay for the shirts. Make some shirts with that on, and I will absolutely sort you out some money for them. And in the same material as that adult shirt, as people are saying as well,
yes.
because those shirts are perfect.
It's the most comfortable shirt I own, I think. So
Well,
yes,
it was the most comfortable shirt I owned until my wife stole it, and now I can't wear it because it's constantly in her
this is
wardrobe.
why you buy 2 or more when you have a wife that does that.
Yeah,
This is
maybe.
only your fault. You should have seen it coming.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for that.
Well, I mean, I'm your friend, but I'm also real. So, anyways, let us move on over to the news doc, which is a reasonable length today. It's not too long.
Yeah, could be worse.
Could be worse. Could be worse, guys. All right. So let's take a look at our first topic of the day, which is an interest tech for the Montage, which is a new TKL keyboard by Linworks, who has previously brought you the EM7, the Dolphin, the Whale, and the Lin Classic.
Lots of well-known boards there. Yeah.
Yep. Korean designer here, and a lot of people into those Korean customs, and this is certainly one of them. So the Montage is a new TKL that is meant to kind of invoke this classic elegance, which a lot of people do like. I'm admittedly getting a little sick of it, just because I feel like it looks like almost every other TKL on the market, but at least it's nice. What do you think about this, Jay?
Okay, well, first of all, let's cover off some of the specs on it. So it's got a 6.5 degree typing angle, pretty standard these days. There's only going to be 50 of them. Interesting, the colours come in black, silver, and Lin choice, which he hasn't decided on. So basically, Lin is going to pick a colour, and that's going to be a bit of a surprise, which I kind of like that. I kind of like joining a group buy and letting people pick for me what I'm going to end up with. That's why I ended up with the pink acrylic rain the other week, because I just said to the guy, you pick a colour for me, show me what you think looks good. The mounting type is a hybrid. It's a sandwich and bottom or top fixed, and we'll talk about that in a second, because I've been looking at the images, and I'll talk about how that works in a second. The PCB, you can have options on that. You can get an extra PCB for $40, an extra bass plate for $50, a 2T alu plate for $60. The PCB, it doesn't actually say what software it uses, but I'm going to assume, being one of the Korean ones, it's either Jigon or Bootmapper or something similar to that, but it doesn't actually say. But it does say the name of the PCB is the Fave 87. I haven't heard of that one before. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, Brian, or used it.
That's a new one for me as well. Often there's kind of this division between the Korean community and the Western communities. And we don't really always know everything that's going on over there, and vice versa. So often things are kind of a surprise to us.
Yeah. One thing I did note, and I think Flippantier in chat has noticed as well, it's USB Mini, not USB-C. So if you're looking for a USB-C TKL, this isn't the one for you. This is definitely USB Mini. So it's worthwhile bearing that in mind. In terms of the board's design, as I think Brian said before, it comes in wing keyless. Is there a wing key version as well? Is that an option? I don't think it is.
I didn't see that.
Oh, no, it says need your choice of layout, wing keyless or wing key. Yeah, okay. So there is a wing key option as well. So there's only pictures of wing keyless here, which I think is the prototype. But there is a wing key option as well. In terms of the design of the board, it's very much a standard TKL. It's very much got the wedge design, so you can get your fingers underneath the sides to try and lift it up. And then, interestingly, in terms of the weight design, there's actually 2 weights on this one. There's kind of like the standard weight that we see is a big rectangle across the back of the board, but then there's also kind of like an accent piece that comes around, peeping around the corner. What are your thoughts on that, Brian? How do you feel about that?
It's fine. It doesn't really do it for me. This board, I hate to be the bad guy, but sometimes Top Clack needs bad guys. The board just doesn't seem very creative to me. It seems fairly normal compared to all the other TKLs that we generally see. The weight system, pretty simple. You have a big, long, rectangular bar on the back, and there's kind of a smaller rectangular bar that fits in the kind of the corner here, where the bottom and the back of the keyboard meet. It's not that interesting. The board's nice, but I don't know. It feels like a board from 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I think one of the interesting things on this board, though, is the mounting style. So there is one of the images where you can or 2 of the images where you can see the plate in a teal bottom. And what you'll probably notice straight away is that the plate looks like it's got the standard tabs that will fit for either a top mount board or like the Canoe on the bottom mount boards. But there's 2 screw holes on either side. And the very next picture down shows you why. So in terms of the actual board itself, where the plate sits into the base, you can use it as a sandwich, where you can just leave it in there and you can put the top case on it and work as a sandwich board. Or interestingly, you can actually screw the plate down from the top, and you can screw into the if you turn the board the right way around, the left-hand most of those two holes on each tab, you can screw down and have it as a bottom mount board. We've seen that on the likes of the KBD67 and some other boards as well. Or interestingly, if you look at that second picture, Brian, you can see there where there's the screw hole ready to go down that's threaded, and you can see where the flat bit where the plate sits. There's also a space on the right-hand most holes. It's the left-hand one in the picture because you're looking at it from reverse angle. But in the right-hand most hole, there's actually a hole, and that's where you can actually screw upwards into the case and have it as top mount instead. So depending on the feel that you're looking for, whether you want something top mounty sandwich or bottom mounty, depending on how you like your typing experience, or if you want to mix and match and put the back row as top mount, the front row as sandwich mount, or vice versa, you can actually change around and do different things with this board. So it's an interesting take on having the two different mount styles in there as well. So
yeah, that's probably the most redeeming quality, I think, in this particular situation. It's not anything entirely new. Like you said, we have seen it before, and obviously top mount's not new, bottom mount's not new, sandwich mount isn't new. But it is nice to have the variety, if nothing else.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see in the design as well, because one thing there isn't is that I could see in here is there isn't an image of the inside of the top case. So the way I'm looking at it, there might not actually be that much difference in the typing experience whether you go top mount or bottom mount, because there's no room to maneuver the plate differently to have different amounts of flexibility or feel in there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works and how it feels. From a personal perspective, I don't think this board is for me. As you said, Brian, it's very much in terms of the traditional TKL now. It's very much samey, and I'm much more of a fan of the TKLs with the F13 key as well now, that kind of layout. Probably not one that I would pick up, but it's a very interesting board nonetheless, just for the mounting method, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It looks fine, but that's kind of the problem too. It looks fine. There's nothing that really differentiates this board against all the other TKLs that are coming out and have come out the last 6 years or whatever. There's not a whole lot of character to it, I feel like. And I don't mean to be mean or anything, but maybe I'll just be mean today. I'll just hate everything on today's episode.
You can play bad cop if you like, yeah. Okay. So just in terms of a couple of other facts then before we finish on this topic, there is 50 of these units, and the group buy will open at the end of the month, the 26th of October, I think is when the page opens. So that's actually Saturday, not Friday, is the 26th. So interesting. A little bit of it might be the Friday, it might be the Saturday, who knows. But yeah, there's going to be 50 units. Additionally, there are also going to be 10 units of a special version, which will be made of brass. So that's going to be full brass. And will be chosen 5 units from the Keycap group buy. So there's 5 of these available to Western customers. I assume the other 5 are available in Asia. And that will be plus $500 on the price. Now, the interesting thing there is I don't see the actual price of the board mentioned in the thread.
So that's actually number 11 on their list right here. The price is $350 plus PayPal fee plus shipping. So obviously that's going to be well over $400. At least if you're in the U.S., obviously it's going to be about $65 to ship. So that's already $415 plus shipping fee or plus PayPal fee. Sorry. So you're already looking at a $430 keyboard base price, and then like you mentioned, plus $500 if you want one of those fancy all brass versions.
And that's of course going to increase your PayPal fee as well. So bear that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hefty price, but that tends
it's $900 keyboard at the end, right?
Oh yeah. If not more, but
if not 1,000, they're pushing 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the base price is fine. It's expected. It's it's nothing out of the ordinary. But the all brass price, I guess that's about right for an all brass keyboard. Most all brass keyboards are usually in that range anyways, between $700 and $1,100. So not for me, but could totally be for you. Who knows?
Yeah, be interesting to see how people rate the mount style when these boards come out, though, and if anyone gets a chance to try one, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your experience with it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's move on to something that not entirely a keyboard, but it's basically a keyboard. It's
I think it qualifies. I think it
yeah.
qualifies.
I struggled to figure out where I wanted to put this in the news doc, whether I wanted it in the keyboard section or the other news section. But
I think it fits in the keyboard section.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yep. So this is an interest check for the Axis, which is an extended number pad, and the pictures not a whole lot of them, but they do have a couple of renders going on here. And the idea here is that it's kind of like if you have a 60%, but you need more functionality, you can get something like this added on, and then now you're going to have your F keys plus your number pad. So pretty interesting design. I think it looks pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. How do you feel about this one, Jay?
Yeah, I kind of like this idea. I like the idea of having F keys on a 65% anyway, which is why I did the JO1 with the 2 F row columns, and why I used the VEA, because it's got those columns there as well. So I really like that. So having these on a macro pad that I could use alongside another board that doesn't have them seems like a winner to me as well. Useful for productivity tools as well, for work and things like that would be great. I think the design's fine. I'm not too keen on the curve on the side. I think it's too curvy. I'd probably shallow that out a little bit. And I don't like this circular hole on the back for the USB-C port. I think that's a little bit of a poor design. I can see why they've done that way, because the USB support is so far recessed in that they've had to make sure that the cables will fit and everything else. But I think there's more elegant solutions to doing that in a modern day and age. Other than that, I think the design's fine from the top-down angle. I think it looks great. I think it looks fine from the front as well. I think it's a great idea. I like the layout. I like the choices. So yeah, I think it's fine.
Cool. We don't really have a ton of info here as far as the specs are concerned, aside from it being aluminum and potentially a few different plate options here with aluminum, brass, and Delrin, which is pretty interesting, as well as the 11-degree typing angle, which I thought was pretty interesting. So this is taking a page out of Duck's boards and going for a pretty serious angle. But obviously, you know, it's an extension to your keyboard. It's not necessarily the keyboard itself. So you're not going to be typing on it like you would a normal keyboard. So the 11-degree might not feel quite as brutal here when you're just using it for productivity.
I think it depends on how much you use the numpad, though. If you're very much a heavy numpad user in Excel, for example, or something like that, that might start to take a toll. It may not, it may be fine, but it's well worth considering that is quite steep. It's nothing compared to a lot of duck boards. I think some duck boards used to have 12-degree angles back in the day. So, you know, it's not the steepest angle, but I think it's up there. Yeah. And just on the Delrin as well. Delrin is basically POM. It's just a brand name for POM. So it's going to be broadly similar to the plates that Project Keyboard provide.
Yep, which I'm a big fan of. I do like POM. I don't know if you remember, I think it was on 2 episodes ago when we had Quer on, and we were talking about the wrist breaker TKL. That's at,
oh, right, yeah.
It has the 14-degree angle, I think is what it was, which is just absolutely hilarious, if I do say so myself. So, yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah. Big shout out to Switch Keys AU as well, 500 bits. Thank you very much. We really appreciate those bits, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, that's coming in the near future, it seems. So we'll be sure to check that out again once it hits the group by phase. But speaking of group by phase, we do have actually a couple keyboards this week that are already into the group by phase. One of them being LZ PhysiX. I'm assuming.
PhysiX.
I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced. I'm assuming PhysiX, but
I think that's fair.
Does the capital X change anything in the naming scheme here?
Nah, PhysiX is fine. I think that's fine. Just before we get onto that, though, big shout out to 159. Thank you very much for the 5 gift subs. Thank you very much for that, dude. We really appreciate that. That's 71 in total now. That's a huge number of gift subs. So thank you very much for that, dude. We really appreciate your support.
Yes. Thank you very much, man. You are a scholar and or a gentleman.
Skewed has just given 3 gift subs as well. Thank you, man. Thank you. Everyone giving the gift subs. Everyone getting a sub.
Feeling the love today. Feeling the love.
Purple chat's going to be exploding in a few hours.
Well, yes. That's a good thing, though.
All right. It's not a bad thing.
So let's talk about this LZ PhysiX, which is this thread feels very LZ just right off the bat. they never have anything like embedded in the thread. You always have to go to other places to see the pictures, which is always kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I think the reason for that though is because he posts it around on so many different forums. It's just easier for him to post the images one place and then link everyone to them.
Yeah, so this is the PhysiX, which is kind of... I'm trying to find a really good picture that shows the layout. I know I saw one earlier. Just want to make sure I find a good one here. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go. This will work. So this is the kind of ergonomic style LZ board that he's going with. What is that? What is going on with this Imager link? Please stop breaking.
What are you doing, Brian?
It's not my fault, all right? It's Imgur.
Well,
Imgur is like dying on me or something.
You keep saying this, but you're the man in control, so...
I can't control Imgur's backend, Jay. I'm sorry, I'm just not that good, okay? Anyway, so
well, you should be good, damn it.
You're right. I should be that good. This is kind of like I don't want to really call it Alice inspired because that's kind of just a bad way of saying it. But at the same time, the most popular comparable layout is going to be the Alice. So this is kind of similar in the same vein. So ergonomic keyboard where it kind of tilts in there to support those proper wrist ergonomics. This version has arrow keys though. So this is pretty interesting. This is a little bit smaller than LZ's last ergonomic project, which was the LZ Ergo. I think it was the last one, which was kind of like their it was like a TKL practically, which is pretty large. So this is a little bit more like an Alice competitor. How do you feel about the way this looks, Jay?
I think it looks fine. You know, I've always been a big fan of the Alice and everything else. I think this looks fine. I really like the logo on the top left-hand corner. I think that looks great. It's a really nice place to put the logo. The layout being slightly different to the Alice and staggered slightly differently as well interests me. I'm keen to try it. Just in terms of some specifications as well, guys. So we've got a 7-degree typing angle for this one. Stainless steel weight, which is brushed stainless steel. The switch plate is MX or Alps, so you can have an Alps variant if you'd like. The PCB will be QMK and Type C, and that's Heine Bush developed as well. So Heine Bush getting in there with the PCB, and it also comes with a TX bag as well. The interesting thing as well though is this board follows the trend for gasket mount boards, and it's a switch plate mount is a rubber mount technology, and there is some images towards that to show it, but it's effectively what we've previously called burger mount kind of thing, where you kind of have bump-ons or similar or rubber O-rings that fit around the screw points and sit underneath the PCB for it to rest on to give it that kind of flexibility. Which I think that's the first time we've seen a gasket mount technology in an Alice type board. I'm not going to call it Alice inspired, but you know, this type of layout board is the first time we've seen it, I think.
Yeah, pretty interesting. It actually took me quite a while to figure out what the mounting was actually like, because for the first like 10 minutes I was looking at this Imgur post here, I thought these were like the heads of the screws. I didn't realize these were actually gaskets.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was like, what is going on? How is this a gasket mount? But now I actually understand it. So yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah. What do you think of the look of the board?
I think it looks great. Yeah, I really like it. I think it looks great. I like the fact that you can see the seam around the board. I think that it's gone for that design to highlight that rather than try and hide it. I like the fact that you can get your fingers underneath and pick that up. I can't see an image anywhere, and now my image is played up on my PC as well now, Brian, so I can't see an image anywhere and what the pictures have got loaded, what the actual weight looks like on the base, so I don't know if there is an image for that, but half the pictures aren't loading for me in a minute.
I don't think there was anything on the weight.
Yeah, so I'd be interested to see what the weight looks like. I think that's the only thing missing. The only other thing that I do prefer to this vastly is the movement of the three, I'm going to call them macro keys, from the left side as you see them on the Alice over to the right-hand side as well. That's a really nice change too. And of course, you've got the addition of the arrows on this board as well. Yeah,
so that'll make a lot of people happy because people like those arrow keys, if nothing else.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's effectively becomes a 65% Alice at that point.
Yeah.
It's a terrible way to explain it as well, but it is.
But like, there's not really another way to say it.
If I say that, everyone knows what I mean.
Exactly. Like everyone that like is even relatively in tune with this community is going to know exactly what the Alice is.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain it otherwise. Otherwise, you just say it's an ergonomic keyboard, which could have 3 dozen different meanings. Anyways.
For sure.
It does look pretty good. The price, though, is a little up there, but that's, you know, nothing out of the ordinary as far as LZ products are concerned. He always sits around that $500 price point or higher, and this one is no exception. So the base kit, $496, which is a really obscure number in my opinion, but hey, you know, it's not my board.
Hey, yeah.
Yep, and that'll come with, of course, the case, the plate, the PCB, and the TX bag, like Jay mentioned earlier, as well as all the hardware.
Yeah. Interestingly, if you want to chuck in an extra PCB, you can do that for $55. Switch plates are $44 to $68, depending on what materials you want. And you can also chuck in an acrylic wrist rest as well for just $5, which I think is a bit of a bargain if you want a wrist rest. That's pretty cheap.
That's incredibly cheap. Yeah, absolutely. So this group buy is going to end on the 30th of this month. So only about 6 days left, and your color choices are going to be black, silver, red, and gray, as far as the case is concerned, or the aluminum plate, depending on if you get one of those as well.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Not too shabby. I wonder if this one's going to sell out like instantly. Is there a cap on limits on this? I don't actually remember.
I didn't see any cap on numbers. So I think Lynn tends to just go to whatever the demand is. So yeah, be interesting to see how that pans out. But I'd imagine there'll be quite a lot of these sold. I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the low hundreds, 300, 400, something like that.
Wow,
of these boards maybe. Yeah, I think the potential's there.
LZ has that lineage in our community. They've been around for a while. They've been doing high-quality boards for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Just a quick shout out to Mr. Petrov for the 1,499 passport voice bits. Thank you very much for that, David. Appreciate those.
Thank you, Petrov. Appreciate that, man. Classic Petrov passport.
Classic Petrov. Yeah.
Classic. All right. Moving on to our next group buy here. This is one I'm actually kind of excited about. So this is the Klippe S, or the Klippe S, depending on how you want to pronounce it, I guess. By Leandrin. Yeah, I always say it wrong, and I know I say it wrong. Like, I've even heard him say it in person, and I still say it the wrong way. That's just because, you know, I'm not cool like that. Anyways, this is by Leandrin over at Mechanisk, of course, and if you're familiar with the Klippe originally, you'll know that it was pretty much just a very simple tray mount case that's been around for a couple years now. It's pretty popular as far as tray mount cases go. It's one of the nicer ones in my opinion, but he wanted kind of a step up from this, something that was you know, a little bit nicer than the normal Klippe, but you know, maybe a little bit not quite as intense as something like the Tinned, formerly known as the Fiel Pro, which is still yet to release. But this is a pretty interesting one. So as you can see from this picture here, it is going to be a multi-part design. It's not just a tray mount. So you have your bottom part here of the case. Then you're going to have this really interesting carbon fiber spacer, which is probably the most interesting part of the board, if you ask me. We haven't really seen this before. We saw the idea when he put out the Tinned, once again, formerly the Fiel Pro, which does have that carbon fiber spacer as well. He wanted to implement this here on the slightly less expensive option, the Klippe S. So this is pretty interesting. What do you think about the mounting system on this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's it's an extension of other mounting systems that we've seen. So we've seen very similar things in terms of layering up and stuff like that on things like the Kepler, the JO1, that kind of stuff as well. So, but the choice to have a carbon fiber mid layer rather than something that's a little bit more flexible to match above and below the board is very interesting. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that feels, how it sounds, what sort of impact that's going to have, how that's going to transfer pressure, case noise, sound from the plate onwards as well. Very interesting to try. So, until I've got my hands on one, I can't vouch for it or not, but I'm really interested to see what it does and how it impacts it. Because I'd be certainly tempted to take a look at doing something similar if it looks and works really well.
Yeah, Leandrin seems to think that this carbon fiber spacing idea works out pretty well. I know he does have tinned prototypes, and I imagine he liked it enough to actually add it here. So it must be doing something at the very least. But it's new. It's creative too, because no one else is really doing that. So It could offer a better typing experience. It could offer a better sound experience. We don't really know yet until we have one in our hands. We can actually test it out. So maybe we can pick one of these up in the near future and check one of these out once they actually go live. As far as the specs go, though, let's run down a few of those. So it does use an 8-degree typing angle. The front height is 18 millimeters, which is pretty average, maybe a little bit below. It's going to weigh 1.3 kilograms. I'm not entirely sure if that's built or unbuilt. Either way, pretty respectable weight for not actually having a weight system in the keyboard. It's not too bad. And the first run is going to be approximately 50 units. So this is something that we've seen from the entrant in the past. He likes to do smaller, more limited runs when he's testing out something new, and then he can always just restock it later like he has been in the past. So a base kit here is going to include the aluminum top and the bottom. You're going to have your choice between standard top or HHKB, which has these corner blockers like you see in this picture here. There's going to be the carbon fiber isolation layer, which you can see here, which sits under the plate. There's going to be an aluminum plate with your choice of either ONSI or ISO layout. You're going to get one of those fancy WT60D PCBs that Jay was showing off earlier in the stream, which are really, really, really nice. It's designed by Wilba. It has VIA compatibility. It has USB-C. It has flex slot cutouts, 2 of them, in fact, in the middle of the board, so you get a little bit more flex if that's your thing. And of course, you're going to get all of your mounting hardware. It's going to be a bunch of optional add-ons, though, if you want. You can use the EVA foam for the case. There's going to be brass plates, polycarbonate plates, and you can opt for an e-white finish as well, all for a little bit of extra cost. The base price here is only $300 though, which is pretty reasonable for what you get. The PCBs alone are pretty nice. I think he retails them for like $60 in that part of the kit already, so yeah, not too shabby if I do say so myself. He does have pics of the actual prototype. He took this to the, let me make sure I get this right, Oslo meetup?
Correct.
That's the place? Yep, Oslo, perfect. Yep, so he took that to a recent meetup, so he does actually have real live prototypes that are usable. So very, very cool. Love seeing that. And yeah, what do you feel about this one as a kit, Jay?
Yeah, I think it looks great. I want to try one and pick one up. $300. I'm probably going to end up getting one of these. I think, it definitely interests me. So yeah, yeah, I want one.
I'm a little bummed there's no win keyless version, just because.
Yeah, I would have preferred win keyless over HHKB top. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I want to try one either way and see what it's like. Also, I just want to shout as well that it's nice to see my Solarized Dark key set that I sent him in these pictures as well, because that used to be mine. So it's nice to see it again.
Wow. Toot your own horn just a little bit more, please, Jay.
Sure, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so these are not actually available yet, which actually kind of confused me. I was wondering why this was actually in the group by category on GCAC when it's not actually in group by yet. But anyways, it's coming soon. This is more like an interest check, I feel like. A very official, certified interest check. The pre-orders do begin in November 2019, maybe December. So sometime before the end of the year, it sounds like. And shipping early 2020 or earlier. Wow.
Yeah, I think in the thread it says pre-order November 2019. Yeah, so yep. I think if it does go up in November, that's going to be pretty fine. I think December always really worries me, and so does January from a group buy perspective. And I don't know how other people feel about this. And digressing a little bit here, but when I was looking at running some of my own stuff, I actively wanted to try and avoid December and January because I feel like they're months where people. It's multiple holidays, and people have got other things to spend their money on. Times are expensive at that kind of year, so I usually think it's best to try and avoid those. I'd be interested to see if it does well if it runs in December, because I guess the community is at a point now where things just seem to run anytime and do just fine anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, like we were talking before the show, like the market in this hobby is so weird right now. Like, nobody can really say one way or the other what's going to happen with, any product. Like, anything could totally fail or be completely ridiculously successful, or anywhere in between. Like, regardless of whether it's a keyboard or a key set or something else. The influx of people in the hobby it really changes things, and we don't really have a whole lot of bearing on what's going on right now as far as the market price is concerned. So it's really interesting to see, like, what could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be interested to see how this comes out. The only other thing that I'd be interested to say on this group buy as well is the carbon fiber surround. I'd be interested to see if we could get the files for that and what that would feel like with different materials, and might be an opportunity to try that out with some other materials in there as well. You could try with different plastics, you could try with different metals, you could try with different other other products as well. So I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, knowing Leandrin, he's a super duper nice guy. He probably would give you those files or open source them. So, wouldn't be terribly surprising.
Well, now you've called him out like that, I guess he has to, right?
That's the goal, Jay. That's the goal. Anyways, yeah, I'm really interested to check one of these out. That the carbon fiber spacer has me really questioning what kind of difference that could actually make. So, I'm gonna hopefully try to pick one of these up as well, considering the price is pretty darn reasonable.
Yeah, interested to see how that goes. But yeah, looks good.
Yep. All right, let's move over to some key sets. It's not quite as insane of a GMK interest check jungle as it usually is, but there certainly are some. So we're going to start out with the interest check for GMK Lunar by Moridin, the designer of GMK Phosphorus as well.
Correct, yeah.
So this is a pretty interesting key set, if I do say so myself. This is based, well, it's inspired by NASA's Apollo guidance computer and DISCI, which was what I think was this. It's the physical user interface.
Correct, yeah.
For the computer, which is pretty darn interesting. So he has a lot of inspiration and why he chose the things that he did here. But if you move down to the actual key set itself on the renders, it looks pretty interesting. I actually like this one a lot, and I bet you could probably guess why, Jay.
I'm sure I can. Yeah. The novelty set and the modifier legends might be the reason for it.
Yes, text-based novelties. Love that. Absolutely love that, and I am totally sold on this set because of it. Come on, restart, uplink activity, temp.
Do you know what the best one is? The gimbal lock. That's a really nice.
That's
nice
a pretty
key.
good one too.
Yeah.
And the R set escape key. And verb and like these are fantastic. I really like this set just because of that reason. But I like how far he actually went with his inspiration here. So you can see that the numpad here is actually an entirely different color, and that is because of the way this looks. So I thought that was pretty interesting. He really took this particular theme and ran with it here, and I think it's pretty successful.
To be honest, I think it works really well. I think there's a lot of sets where that could go wrong, trying to do different colours across the layout. But I think here it just works really well. I was speaking to him in DMs a couple of days ago about this. I think the big thing I want to say on this is the inspiration from this, the Apollo 11, command module and everything else. It's such a good source of inspiration. I mean, it's the whole 50th anniversary this year, or it was earlier on in the year. Everything else. It's just a fantastic thing to pick up on, the pinnacle of human endeavor, and to use that as inspiration for something as mundane as a key set is just fantastic. I really like that just from an inspiration perspective. And even if I'd have hated the key set, I would probably want to buy it just because of that inspiration, the way it's been implemented here. I do think the yellow works really well with the key set as well. I'm not normally a fan of enforced accent spacebars. There's only been, as I think I said last week, actually, there's only been one other set that's done it well, and that was GMK Olivia. But I think on this set it really works. So yeah, I'm dead excited to see this.
Yeah, according to the core kit, though, they're not forced accents, so there is actually an alpha colored spacebar and enter as well.
I would be so bold as to say it should be forced on this kit.
Wow, that's pretty bold, Jay. All right, you can you
hot take.
You're totally entitled to have a wrong opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that aside from that it's wrong.
I'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, all right, sure, whatever. Anyways, checking out the core kit here, aka the command module. I love that. It really gets you kind of into the theme.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. You have a fair amount of compatibility here. You have basic ISO support. You have 65-75% support, HHKB, Sangon, all that good stuff. And of course, the numpad actually comes with the base kit too. So this is actually one of the fuller base kits we've seen in a while. as far as GMK is concerned, because a lot of people do like to cut up those numpad and ISO options, as well as other things. So that one looks pretty good. They have a novelty kit, which is very affectionately titled, "Houston, we have a problem." Of course, most people have heard that quote in their life. It's very, very, very popular. And this one looks pretty good, too. I love how insane this novelties kit actually is, because not only do they have novelties, they have lots of different colors, including different colored space bars. So you actually have a couple accent space bars in this kit. So you have the normal yellow that comes with the base kit. Then you have this kind of this red version here that has the Master Alarm Enter novelties, which I like quite a bit.
Good novelty, yeah. Interestingly enough, in the other novelties as well, I do think that these are quite nice. I kind of like the whole footprint, you know, first man on the moon, the space helmet, but the lunar lander module novelty is what really jumps out at me. I think it's fantastic, and I just hope that that's not too detailed for GMK to be able to make. If they can make that, I would be very happy, because that looks fantastic, and I'm a real big fan of that particular key, especially where it's the dark grey and yellow version. I think that looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good, but the detailing there is pretty intense. I'm going to be really, really interested to see if GMK is going to be able to pull that off. A lot of those lines are really, really small.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as the rest of the kit goes, I think it does a pretty good job as far as novelty kits are concerned. Then they have the spacebar kit, which is known as the landing pad. So very nice there. You got lots of different options, including accent spacebars for your splits and your Alice or Alice-esque B. And then there's a 40s kit, of course, which I don't think they actually they didn't give it a cute name, which bums me out a little bit. Maybe that's still in the works. So
yeah, I'm sure they could have thought of something for that, you know, rover kit or something like that. I don't know. There must have been something in there that could have worked.
Yeah, I mean, you can't half-ass it, right? Like either you gotta give like interesting names to every single kit, or you don't do that. There's no real in between.
And I think the reason that the Meridians made that decision is because the first three kits that we covered are actually, you know, they're pretty much set. Those three kits will run. There might be tweaks, change, but they will run. The 40s kit, the other two that we're going to look at in a second, I think they're very much optional, and they may or may not run depending on interest as well. So yeah, interested to say to see if those names will change if he does decide to run them.
Yep. But regardless, there is a couple other kits here, including the 40s and Ortho kit, of course. Like we see that very popular lately. As well as the Lunar module, which gives you kind of a darker set of alphas. And then there's the Nordic kit, of course. So this is kind of a lot of your international stuff, if that's your kind of thing.
Yeah, nice to see those being made. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it looks pretty good. I like the inspiration. I like the whole theory behind it. He's done a pretty good job on drafting up this interest check thread. Even though the colors aren't blowing me away, just because of the investment that he's got me on the theme, I feel like it really gives the key set more character.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at it, though, I think it looks really nice. In any case, you know, you could have it as almost like a monochrome light grey with white legend, you know, kind of setup, and I think that looked just fine as it is. I don't think we see enough monochrome sets anymore. I think we're probably moving away from the monochrome sets, and we're tending to have monochrome alpha kits later on as an add-on, and it's nice to see that trend's reversed here. So yeah, I'm probably all in for this one. Yeah, really like it.
Cool. Yep, so we'll check this up again once it hits the group buy phase. Looking forward to that. Also, I'm looking forward to this next topic, which is Beep's upcoming new GMK set. This is an interest check for GMK Bushido. Those of you may be unfamiliar with Bushido, it's basically the code of honor and conduct that a Japanese samurai would have and have to abide by. And this is pretty interesting. So this is going to be using some new katakana sub-legends for GMK, which is pretty cool. I don't think we've seen those yet, as far as I'm aware. So pretty interesting stuff there. And the colors of this one I like, but I'm not 100% certain how much I like the way they split the colors on this one. So as you can tell from these pictures, the first couple rows here, row 1, 2, and 3 are going to have these kind of white alphas here. And then from row 3 on, you're going to have the red alphas. And the split kind of bothers me a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. How do you feel about
that? I don't like the split. It throws my eye off. I think certain sets have done coloured num rows and F rows and things like that and done it well. For me, it doesn't quite work. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that split. I think if it was all one or the other, if it was all white or all red, I get that it probably wouldn't tie into the theme as well as Bip's trying to trying to achieve here. But I think one or the other would work better for me. And if you wanted to have this for the people that do like it, I'd do the split color as an option pack. Because if we look down the kits later on, we're going to get to the Dishonor kit, which is where you can change it all back to the red legends. I think it should probably be base and then separate out the other one. But that's just my view on it, and I can see why Bip's made the choice to not do it that way. But
yeah, it's one of those scenarios where us as consumers and just viewers of the thread, it might not make a whole lot of sense, but for him, that could be like the entire design theory, and we just, aren't quite seeing it that way. So
yeah,
but yeah, regardless, it is a pretty interesting looking set, and I'm a big fan of the samurai culture. Base kit looks pretty good. You have basic ISO support and pretty much anything else you want out of a GMK base set. You have the numpad, you have HHKB Sangon support, 65, 75%, all that good stuff. And like Jay was mentioning before, there is the Dishonor kit, which does replace all of those top white alphas with the red that the rest of the set has. So if you wanted that more kind of even look, that's going to be an option for you. There are a couple more kits. There's the Samurai kit, which is the novelties kit of this set per se. And the Enter, I think he says it actually right here. The Enter says Disgrace. And then the bottom mods here, these 1.25s and 1.5s, are Death, Suicide, Dishonor, and Punishment. So pretty extreme stuff here. I think, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when he first put this set up, he called it GMK Seppuku.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
which is also known as Harikari, which is basically the process of a samurai cutting out his own stomach and oftentimes having a friend or loved one with a katana nearby to slice off your head, which sounds really extreme, but that was like a proud death for a samurai. That was like one of the ways you could redeem yourself, basically, if you committed something that you weren't supposed to commit. Regardless of that kind of darkness of killing yourself. Yeah, the set's pretty fun. I do like the set, but I think I would have to have the Dishonor kit with it, which would kind of bum me out because I'm usually the type of person that can just buy a base kit and I'll be fine with anything. I almost never need any additional kits, so having to buy an additional kit would kind of bum me out on this one.
I agree. I think I would do it the other way around, have it all as one color and have the separate white kit as the Dishonor kit. I feel that's probably a better way to go.
Mountain Block says best suicide themed set of the year.
Wow.
Have there been other suicide themed sets? Because now you have me really thinking.
I haven't seen
not.
one.
I sure hope not. Regardless, there are some other kits as well. This is this Beep's the designer here. He's done a really good job, like he does on all of his sets, pretty much. So he's got the Nomad kit here, which is your kind of 40s and somewhat ortho stuff going on here. I really wish he would have called this the Ronin kit. I feel like that would have fit the theme a little bit better, I think. And then he does have a Spacebars kit, which also doesn't have a fun name. So this is another set where we have kits that some of them are named fairly affectionately and some of them are not.
Yeah. So just and this is someone who's not in the culture, but a Ronin was a samurai without a master, right? And just wandered the lands.
Yeah, wandering samurai that didn't have a master or lord or something. So yeah, I mean, it's very much basically what a nomad would be. In a certain sense. Okay. So I feel like that would have been a really good choice to go with. But hey, not my set. All right. Cool. Let's move on to our next interest check. I guess we do have a lot of GMK interest checks. There is
always a lot of GMK.
You can never escape GMK interest checks.
No,
crazy.
you can't.
And I don't even think I added all of them. I think I actively passed on.
There were some you didn't add. Yes, I have seen that. Yeah. Okay. But this one is GMK Ivory. Now we'll come back to the name in a second because I do have something to say on that. But the first thing I want to call out is that this is going to go to all kit profits being donated to Save the Elephants, a non-profit organisation located in Kenya, Africa. They work to provide protection, conduct research, spread awareness, and resolve conflict, all regarding the elephants that are out there in the wild in Africa. So, really good charity out there protecting, what is technically an endangered species right now. So, just want to say, really good to see another charity-based set coming out. We've seen a few others with Pretty in Pink and Coral from Hudro, all trying to do things for charity. So good thing to see is that. But in terms of the set, this is, as I said, GMK Ivory, which is kind of like an off-white, slightly yellowish set using RAL code. Additionally, there's also some accent keys, which use 2 GMK stock colors, and there is some color comparisons on there if you're interested in having a look at how that compares up to Minimal, Nines, Umka, and Froyo. You can see it's close to some of them, but it's still quite different and still stands on its own as quite a different kind of set. In terms of the rest of the interest rate, there's very little info other than the renders that's shown. In terms of the details, though, there is a set date roughly going to be approximately in Q1 2020. The kits are going to have a full base kit with full UK ISO support, yay! Spacebar kit, desk mats, artisan caps, and cables as well. And the designer's also looking for vendors that will support the project within. So interesting thoughts there from the set. Brian, what do you make of this? What do you think about it?
It looks nice. There's not a whole lot going on, obviously. They're just trying to invoke that ivory kind of look, which someone in chat actually just said this set's kind of ironic, just because it's called Ivory and all the profits are going to Save the Elephants, which is good, don't get me wrong, but then you're using something that's supposed to invoke the sense of ivory as well. So it's kind of like it's an interesting kind of idea, and I guess the same could kind of be said about GMK Coral as well. And I'm not talking down about the set, don't worry. I think it's great. I love seeing stuff like this run. I love seeing it work out. I love seeing it go to charity. That's great. But it is kind of funny because obviously you wouldn't use ivory in the keycaps. They're made of plastic. But it's still the sense that it's supposed to be like ivory, I think is kind of ironic. I do agree with that.
Yeah, when I said earlier on I was going to come back to the name, that's exactly what I was going to say. It feels a bit of non-commentary to call it GMK Ivory when that's what you're trying to protect. There's potentially other names that would have been better. But, either way, the set stands for something good, irrespective of the name either way. Mr. Petrov saying, jokingly, I hope it's a joke, that they should make an FE edition that's actually made of ivory. I hope that's a joke, Mr. Petrov. I would be very disappointed if you meant that, to be real. So I'm going to assume it's a joke.
Yeah, always assume that Petrov is joking. That's generally how I conduct myself with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
he says he doesn't.
Just assume his whole life is a meme. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Whole life meme. Yeah. So like Jay mentioned, we don't really have a lot of info aside from these few renders and the color codes. There's no like real kit breakdown or anything. Just a tentative group by date of Q1 2020, which would actually kind of surprise me, just because any like remotely popular vendor is going to be booked way past Q1 2020 already when it comes to GMK sets. So I'm a little interested to see who's going to pick this up, especially seeing how it's supposed to all go to a non-profit organization. All the profits are supposed to go to Save the Elephant. So, obviously you're going to have to find a vendor or multiple vendors that are all willing to do this set for free, essentially, which is tough. It's hard to find. It's hard to ask businesses that do keycap group buys to do something like this for free. But you never know. They are out there for sure. We'll have to see what happens with this one.
Yeah, and that does worry me. I mean, if he means all his profits, then that's fine. You know, designers usually take a small cut as well. But I think you're right. I think for a full keycap set group buy, that's going to be a huge base kit with other kits as well. It's a lot more difficult to arrange that with vendors. I know the vendors all want to do the best for the community, and they're all great people. But at the end of the day, they are running businesses, and they need to keep those businesses afloat. Something small like Pretty in Pink is quite easy from a QC perspective and quite easy from a packaging and shipping perspective. It's one small bag of keycaps. It's not a huge tray that needs to go in boxes and all needs to be, you know, labeled up in the right way and stuff like that. But if we do get some people behind it, absolutely great, and I'd want to support it from that perspective too. So yeah.
Javon in chat says this would be a good set for S7 Elephant V2.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cute match. I do like that. Also, one thing, I'm just gonna point it out because I just noticed it, and it's like a train wreck. I can't look away. There's a 0.25 U gap between the left shift and the Z, which is pretty clearly a mistake. So if you guys are watching, if Patrick Sue is watching, there's an issue with those renders. So in case they wanted to fix it.
Good spot. Good spot.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to an interest check that isn't GMK. This is for KAM Spooky. Jay,
Ooh.
How do you feel about? Are you a big fan of Halloween? Do you like spooks?
I can take it or leave it. Halloween. We don't really celebrate it massively here in the UK. It's a thing, but it's not a huge thing. Yeah, it's not my favorite holiday. I'll be honest. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say on Halloween than that. It's a good night to sit in with, you know, loved ones and watch a scary film or something like that. That's fine. But I'm not one that's going to go answer the door to the kids that come around trick or treating and hand them out candy. That doesn't happen. Not in my house.
Oh man! All right. So this is effectively supposed to be a key set that invokes the essence of Halloween in keycap form. Right there in the OP, it says that. So I added this for the main reason of discussion, because we have talked about this in the past. This is supposed to be a Halloween-themed set, and he's launching it. He's launching the IC, at least, on, you know, the 22nd of this month, which was
the week before Halloween, right?
2 days ago, which is about a week before Halloween. This really bothers me. It really does. So if you're going to do a set that is themed around a holiday like Halloween, for example, do you want to put out an interest check at the time of Halloween? Do you want to start the group buy at Halloween? Do you want the product to ship to people on Halloween, before Halloween, after Halloween? What's the idea behind this? Because let's say this group buy runs next month, or the month after that, or whatever, and it takes, I don't know, 6 months or 7 months to actually arrive. It's going to arrive to people, you know, in the summer.
Yeah.
You know, you're not necessarily going to get this very close to Halloween, which I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it really does.
It does me as well. We talked about this when we talked about the GMK Christmas set a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, it just feels like it's wrong. It's like if you're going to do this, you'd want it to be delivered in September time so that people have it ready for October, not running the group, not putting the IC up the week before Halloween itself. That being said, I still, and I said this about the Christmas set as well, I'm still not convinced that people want holiday themed sets. I might be wrong on that, but for me, it just doesn't feel like it's what the community really wants. I mean, it wouldn't be something that would entertain me or I'd be interested in. I'm not sure how other people feel about that, but it doesn't.
I kind of like the idea of having a holiday themed set, because it's really festive, right? It gets people in the mood. Like maybe it's a, you know, Halloween set or whatever. You're carving out your jack-o'-lanterns with your, you know, your kids or whatever, and then you're maybe putting up some spooky decorations. And then you're, you know, it's a week before Halloween, and your KAM Spooky arrives. You can put it on your keyboard still before Halloween. You can take some pictures, farm some karma on Reddit or whatever. Like it makes sense, but I feel like you never know when key sets are always going to arrive. You don't know if it's going to take 4 months or 6 months or a year. And if you are going to do a holiday themed key set, you have to have it arrive to people at the right time. That's like, it's so critical. Otherwise, why do you care about it? Like if you bought this set and it arrived to you in June, would you care? would you care about a Halloween key set in June?
No, and the other side of this as well is once you've bought it, what do? Do you just bust it out once a year for the week before for the week of the holiday? Is that what you would do? I'm not quite sure. That wouldn't fit into my workflow and the way I use keycap sets. I don't think I'd change them because I want to change the look and feel of what I'm using. I don't do that on a weekly basis. I wouldn't do that just for a holiday. That seems like a small, like a big, rigmarole to go through to change my setup to just have.
Yeah,
Something that fits for the holiday for the week.
Yeah, I mean, I get the idea. It's fun in theory, and it's cute in theory, but it almost never seems to work out, which is kind of a bummer. As far as the set is concerned itself, how do you feel about the colorway? We obviously don't have any renders, which are kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Not any real renders, at least. We only have kit breakdowns, effectively, and some novelties and such.
Okay. So I feel like I've been quite negative, and it's more about my feel for the thoughts behind the set than the set itself. So first of all, I want to just say KAM, good shout. Both you and I love cat profile. So for those of you who don't know, KAM is the all road 3 version of cat.
Yep.
So it's a uniform version. So nice keycaps, great legends, really nice to type on, great feel. So definitely happy from that perspective. In terms of the colors, I kind of like the alphas, but I don't like the modifiers. I don't like the brightness. That jumps out a bit too much at me. But that being said, if the whole set was just orange legends on black caps, I'd probably like it a little bit more. But it would probably feel something more akin to something like Ski Data then, and it's probably bordering on other sets and other designs. Or was there a Dolce orange on Dolce set? I think there was as well at some point.
Ski Dolce.
Ski Dolce, yeah, which is kind of like Ski Data mixed with Dolce, yeah. So it just reminds me of those, and I feel like I'm probably just going in towards those colour key sets at that point. What are your thoughts on the colours?
I feel pretty much the same. I'm not entirely sold on this. I like the idea of the orange with black. I think that really does a good job of invoking the kind of Halloween feel. But at the same time, we already have multiple orange and black sets on the market, so it's hard to maybe identify and execute something like this. That said, they did add other colors as well, but at this point, I feel like it's maybe a little too colorful, especially with all these accents.
Okay, I've got a bit of a hot take now. So
Okay.
This has just come to me. I haven't thought this through, but I think my view on this kind of thing is that rather than do a full key set, themed holidays might work better as just a novelty pack for an existing profile that's quite popular. So if you could do something in, say, Cherry Profile that was a themed set for Christmas, or themed set for Easter or Halloween or Thanksgiving or whatever other holidays you want to, Diwali. It's Diwali right now as well, isn't it? Right. So if anyone's is part of that holiday, happy Diwali to you guys as well. But if you did keycap sets as just small novelty packs, 6, 10, 12 keys that focused on the holiday, the theme itself, that might be better if it fit in with the existing colorways or different accents. Maybe that's a better way of approaching it.
That's a really good idea, actually, because we already do have so many sets on the market. We have so many sets constantly coming out. I think we're going to see a big influx. And we already have started to see a pretty big influx of add-on kits, whether it's for whether it's for Greek beige legends or or
Korean
hiragana,
legends, whatever,
Hangul legends. There's the pretty in pink add-on kit. There's so many things going on with add-on kits lately, and it's nice to see because you can alter the way a key set looks by having an add-on kit, and it's obviously much less expensive than a full GMK set or a full set of anything, basically. So it'd be kind of interesting to see something like that. The downside to something like that is you can only really get away with that with GMK right now, just due to the intense popularity. It'd be a lot harder to release. Yeah, because think about it. If you can't really release like a KAM add-on kit, because there aren't really any KAM sets on the market besides Starry Night, which is a very specific colorway. It's hard to match with. But when you look at things like GMK, we have GMK White on Black. It's pretty universal. We have GMK Minimal, GMK 9009, and we have so many relatively simple GMK sets that can be matched with by add-on kits so easily. But I feel like that's a really good idea, Jay.
it doesn't necessarily have to match. It could be an accent color that just fits with, you could quite easily come up with a purple that would, look nice with OG beige sets like 9009 or OG keycaps, and it would work well with minimal, and it would work well with black on white. White on black. Sorry, so most people have those sets in the hobbyist community. You could come up with accent colors that would match pretty much anything and would just work as holiday themed keycap add-on kits. I think that's where I stand. And I'm going to let something slip here that maybe I shouldn't. The reason that came to me is because I'm working on an add-on kit, not for a holiday, but for something else as well at the minute. And I just felt like, why wouldn't you do just something like the novelties pack for it?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely a cool idea. I think the more add-on kits we get in the market, the more we're going to have a demand for neutral colored key sets too. Whether it's reruns of things like GMK Minimal or something new that is also very neutral and simple.
Being completely honest, sets like GMK Minimal, GMK White on Black, those OG colors as well, those should be in stock.
Yeah,
all the time.
Exactly.
No one owns those colorways. No one owns white on black. I know Dixie and Jan own the branding for Minimal, but they don't own black on white keycap sets because it's such a standard adopted color in the community. And the same for black on white. Originative run it, Mastruck run it, other people can run it. Candy Keys in the EU run a German version of it. People don't own those ones, though. So having those in stock and having keycap sets that match are great.
Yeah. I would love to just be able to buy like a set of GMK Minimal, just like in stock somewhere, even with a little bit of a markup or whatever. That's fine. Like, you're able to buy GMK White on Black often from Drop because they kind of just keep bringing them in, and it's like $110. It's a nice set. It's classic. Very, very easy, very accessible. I like that. I want to be able to do that with 9009 Minimal or something very similar to Minimal. Just another black on white set, and then maybe something like Muted as well, something similar to Muted. These are all, a lot of the times, like, these are just using stock GMK colors, like 2 stock GMK colors. Like, we should be able to have sets more accessible like that.
Titan's just saying in chat as well, the designer does. I think he's referring back to when people own colorways. And I think if you pick like Shoko, or if you pick Chocolatier, or if you picked, Coniferous, I'm just looking around for inspiration, or Space Cadet, that's great. Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Sure. They own them. I would want to respect those, intellectual properties and whatever else you can do, in respect of that. But in terms of keycap sets of certain colorways that have existed before this hobby existed, no one owns those, is my view. So the OG colors, 9009, fine, it's inspired by the routers boards and all of that kind of stuff. But GMK Missing Keys, for example, use the OG colors. Korean Beige use the OG colors. So it's not owned in terms of colorway. And the same for white on black. White on black keycaps have existed by Cherry for donkey's years, and they were used on Cherry boards for a long time and produced by GMK before this hobby became anything. No one owns that. You can go out and buy an OG set of white on black keycaps quite easily off of eBay or anywhere else these days. Same with Minimal. Look at how many white sets there are with Black Legends. There's so many. Stormtrooper, is pretty much identical. You've got
Pristine.
What else? Pristine as well. Yeah, Pristine's more beigey, so I probably wouldn't be on. But there are other ones too. And Honeywell's an example of what people do assume is a named keycap set that people own the colorway to, but is actually a really open colorway. So different people have run it in different profiles. You had Holton run it in DSA. You've had Andy Living Speed Bump from who now works for GMK running it in GMK. You've had Signature Plastics and Originative both running it in SA profiles. So it happens, no one owns that colorway either. So there are colorways that are owned in brackets that designers have, I'm going to rights to, again in brackets, just by sheer convention of the community. But there are other colorways that people don't exist, and those ones, people should be able to achieve and own whenever they can.
Yeah, Honeywell is a brand. Honeywell is a brand
exactly,
that still makes stuff even.
My boiler in my house is made by Honeywell.
Yeah, they make
same company.
They make lots of things. Also, you have situations like Hyperfuse. Hyperfuse obviously has been not pioneered necessarily, but it's been used a lot by Control-Alt.io, and you've obviously seen it in multiple revisions and multiple profiles, etc. That's not an original colorway from them. That's from Nike.
Yeah.
Nike has the Hyperfuse colorway, and we just kind of took it and rolled with it or whatever. I guess there's a lot of gray areas when you're talking about who owns rights to colorways and stuff like that, but it's at the end of the day, legally, no one really owns the colorway.
Correct. Yeah.
Legally, obviously, we have a lot of we have a lot of nice people in the community, and we respect other people's ideas. So if Jay designs a set with 3 colors or whatever, I'm not going to design a set with those 3 colors because that's practically his intellectual property. So
7 colors in my set. Thanks very much. 7.
Yeah. Anything less than triple digit colors, you're doing something wrong. 100 plus colors per set. Let's get it.
Well, secondary question. What sets have gone into double digits in terms of colours? Paper did it. GMK Paperwork.
Probably Honda,
maybe Handabite.
Rainbow.
I think that's probably Rainbow did as well. No, Rainbow didn't go into double figures.
Rainbow is not 10 or more colors.
No, it's 6 if I remember rightly. Because instead of having indigo and violet, it just has 1 purple, and I've used the same colours in Midnight Rainbow. And so the only difference is I've got black, and they've got white legends. So yeah, I can't think of anything else. Maybe Handabite, definitely GMK Paperwork.
Anyways, we're rambling a little too much.
Yeah.
So let's get back.
We're digressing. Yeah.
Let's get back to the Halloween themed set, KAM Spooky.
Okay, so
thoughts.
finish up the hot take. Don't do it as a full-on set. Themes are great, but don't do it as a full-on set for holidays. I think GMK add-on kits are the future for holiday sets if you are so inclined. So Christmas, Halloween, let's get a turkey brown coloured set for Thanksgiving and whatever else. Why not? Right? Why not?
I like it. I really enjoy the add-on kit idea. That's really good for themes like this. I think that would be pretty successful. All right.
Cool.
Anyways, yeah, this set not really doing it for me. I don't think the timing is probably going to work out. I think the colors are maybe a little too, I don't know, not necessarily out there, but obviously we've seen a lot of orange and black before. It's just not doing it for me, and the lack of renders in the interest check is kind of sad as well.
Agree. Yeah.
As far as the novelties are concerned, I think the novelties are pretty solid.
Yeah, the novelties are fine, which is kind of what gave me the idea. I think the pumpkin one's especially quite good. I quite like that, but
Yep. Potential is there, but maybe not going about it necessarily the right way. All right.
Cool.
Let's move on to a pretty interesting key set. So this is an interest check for Project Mythos PBT. This is Mito's new project. Mito, of course, obviously a very popular designer, brought you things like Laser, Godspeed, Overcast, etc. So this is his kind of new colorway going on right now, which is a PBT set where I was trying to find the manufacturer of these PBT caps, or at least the die subber, if they're not one and the same, but I couldn't really find any info on that, unfortunately. So pretty much we don't have a ton of stuff to work with, but I think the set actually looks pretty nice. So he's trying to invoke this this Mythos theme, which I'm presuming is some kind of Greek origin.
Yeah, so where he's going to is the Medusa and Poseidon. So Medusa was a Gorgon, and Poseidon was god of the sea. Pegasus and his brother, and I'm reading from his site here, Cryosol were born when Medusa's blood mixed with the foam of the sea after she was tricked and beheaded by Perseus. So Perseus was, of course, a Greek hero. Pegasus was born as a winged horse, since his father Poseidon morphed into the shape of a horse in order to seduce Medusa. When Pegasus was born, a huge thunder with lightning pierced the sky, which established his connection with the force of the skies. And then it goes on to give some more detail around that whole mythological story and everything else. And that's where the Pegasus part of this myth comes from. In terms of the keycap itself, I think it's quite clear that it's very much a black legend, white base with some pale blue modifiers, which I think looks quite nice. In terms of coverage, you've got pretty much everything you could want in the base kit. ISO support, 65% TKL. You can do pretty much everything in there. There's just a numpad missing. Is HHKB in there as well?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's the backspace. Yeah, I just couldn't see the backspace.
Yeah, it's in kind of a weird spot.
Yeah. I was lost looking for it then, but yeah, you can cover pretty much everything. In terms of other kits as well, you've also got a numpad if you want to add in a numpad, and then there's also an absolute ton of Pegaso novelties in various different accent colors and modify colors and alpha colors as well. So just to talk through these really quickly, you've actually got the Greek sub-legend part of the kit as well. So if you want to have those Greek sub-legends and go back to the mythos of the set, back to its origins, you can add those in. There's also a number of different novelties that look like the winged horse itself, a very stylized version of that. There's also very stylized versions of the gods, goddesses, and heroes, and everyone else mentioned at the beginning. That's part of the story for an R1 row as well. So you've got all of those different characters laid out up there as well, which is quite interesting. And then one of the really interesting ones as well is actually one of the star constellation that relates to Pegasus as well. So it shows all of the different dots that formulate the stars and how you would draw that out as well in the night sky. So very interesting from that perspective. So yeah, and the final thing I want to say is the price.
The price,
Brian.
Yeah, $60 base kit. That's a lot of compatibility for $60. That is much cheaper than maybe not much cheaper, but I think it's definitely cheaper than Enjoy PBT per cap, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's quite a bit of compatibility for $60, and even if you throw in this like ridiculous novelties kit for $25, you're looking at an $85 set with a ridiculous amount of keys.
The number of keys in that novelties kit is obscene for $25.
It's pretty wild, yeah. And like you mentioned, I think it's awesome they have not only the novelties and this kind of accent thing going on with the different colors, but they also have the replacement caps for your alphas if you do want those Greek sub-legends. So
yeah, exactly,
really awesome here. And I think the novelties here are actually like incredible. They're not overdone. They're fairly simple. They're very doable, but they still get the point across.
Yeah. What does really worry me is that we don't know who the manufacturer is of these keycaps, as you said before. We don't know the quality. We don't know what the die subbing is going to look like. I know Mito has got really high standards, but at that price point, there is a part of me that worries that he might not be able to get the quality from the manufacturer that something like this set deserves. So, I'm sure, he will be absolutely all over in terms of trying to make sure that we've got the right, the right quality behind these keycaps. But it'd be interesting to know who the manufacturer. I do have a suspicion who I think it is, but yeah, I wouldn't want to comment on that at this stage. And maybe I'll ask Mito in private and see if he was actually messaging me before the show about all this stuff. So
yeah, same.
Yeah, maybe I'll just sneakily ask him if.
Yeah, we should try to figure that out. He does actually have prototypes here, not of necessarily the set, but just of the quality of the caps itself. So he does have this kind of set here, which is kind of funny. The Q and the W are switched here. I noticed that, and it kind of bothered me. But anyways, the caps themselves look okay. They don't look incredible, but
I think part of the problem is the picture doesn't look particularly clear.
Yeah, the picture's kind of bad. A lot of the caps are not actually straight either, as you can see. A lot of them are kind of rotated or tilted or whatever. So like this Q is actually tilted towards the camera itself, whereas the W is flat. So it kind of gives this weird illusion that the Q is a little bit smaller than the W.
Yeah.
But I think that's just kind of a perception kind of thing. But the quality looks fine to me. Then he has this kind of more of like a macro shot of the 3 of the die sub quality. Not the greatest macro picture to determine quality, but still, again, it looks fine from there. Then he has this thickness test. He does claim that these are going to be 1.6 millimeters, which is pretty interesting. So we're still in that thick 1.5 millimeter range, but maybe a little bit higher. So he does have some calipers there on that, and it is showing 1.57. There's still human error when you use calipers like this with your hand, because obviously your hand is not a completely hard surface. So still pretty darn close. Like seeing that. But yeah, $60 base kit. Like it's hard to argue. Like even if the quality's not perfect, it's hard to argue with a base kit that has that many keys for only $60.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what a set of these look like and see if the legends are nice and crisp and clear. The only thing I do want to call out about the the rest of the set is that some of the caps might have to be well, they're going to be dice up, but we haven't seen any what the color. So I'm not explaining myself wrong. We haven't seen what the dicing looks like on colored keycaps yet. So from the pictures there wasn't anything that was where it's a colored keycap and then the legend's being dyed on top of it. So we haven't seen anything where it's a blue keycap or a yellow keycap. That's all being diced onto white keycaps, which is probably the easiest way to do it and the one where we see the least blurring. So I'd be interested to see what that looks like on the colored keycaps when that comes around.
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, looking forward to this. I'm probably gonna ask if we can get a sample of this. I think it's through Drop, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's gonna be through Drop. So I might have to reach out with the homies over there and see if they'll send one our way, because I'm really interested to see how this PBT actually feels, maybe who manufactures it. Maybe we can try to get some more info on this, because I think this could be really, really cool. But we just don't have all the info yet.
Yeah, Penguin also calling out something else that I was going to pick up on, which is the ISO enter key looks pretty weird. It does. The legend should be slightly lower than it actually is on the keycap. So yeah, I'm sure that's just an issue in the render rather than actual where it's going to be in production.
Yeah, that's the hope at least.
It's Mito. His attention to detail is pretty high. Sure.
He does have, yeah. He's an incredibly passionate guy. For better or worse at times, as I'm sure some people will attest. But yeah, he does have a very, very high attention to detail. He likes to go really all in with themes too. Anyways, let's move on to our next interest check. We're back to the GMK train, and this is an interest check for Sloth, GMK Sloth by Drifting Buddies here. And yeah, I actually really like the way this one looks. We don't really get many kind of like brown tannish sets, I feel like, and I think that this kind of fits that void.
Yeah, it feels like a washed down, almost sepia toned set. It's almost like you've taken something like Umka and just sepiaed it out and put it into autumn, something like that. It looks really interesting. I'm a really, really big fan of those reddish kind of auburn coloured keycaps. Really like those keycaps. They look great. In terms of the set, you can cover pretty much everything as well in the base kit: ISO, numpad, alternate arrows, accent enter keys, HHKB 65%, TKL false. Everything's pretty much there. I can't see anything missing from that perspective. I like also how he's called it the laziest fuck kit as well. That's really nice.
Yeah.
And he's included that F13 key for those who might need it in the base kit as well.
Oh, did he? Oh yeah, it is there. I didn't even notice that.
It's there. It's there. Yeah, it's there.
Nice, yeah. So looking like a pretty well-structured base kit there. There is also the 40s kit, which he's titled Baby Sloth, so that's kind of cute there. That's your 40s and ortho add-on kit there. Then the branches, that's going to be your spacebar kit there. And then the Slovelties, which is kind of a funny name. But I think these novelties are actually pretty adorable. Particularly just the face at the top. I think that's really, really successful as far as novelties go. The ender is pretty good as well.
Yeah. What I would like to see is I'd like to see an ISO one with the sloth climbing vertically or something like that.
That'd be just like we were talking about on the last episode. It's really cool to have different enter novelties between ISO and ONSI. Kind of fun there. But yeah, very successful novelties, I would say. Desk mat also, I think, highly successful. This solves a lot of issues that we've been talking about with desk mats the last, couple months, where a lot of people like to design desk mats as a mat and not necessarily think about having a keyboard and mouse on top of it, where, a lot of times you're going to have a keyboard and or your mouse covering important parts of the mat that make the mat itself. I feel like this really, really solve that, because obviously you're going to have, generally speaking, if you're right-handed, you're going to have your keyboard over here on the left. You'll cover a couple leaves, but you'll still see all this goodness over here. Then you'll have your mouse probably around this area over here. So you're really not losing a whole lot of desk mat goodness there once you put your keyboard and mouse on top of it. So very nice novelties, very nice desk mat. I love the colorway. This is a really successful interest check for me.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I think I'll be all over this set when it runs because I like it. It looks great.
Yep, Really, really, really well thought out. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah,
Very,
good
very
interest
nice.
check as well. It's nice laid out interest check as well. I really like
Yeah,
that.
definitely. Using RAW colors here, very, very nice. Yeah, this is going to be a must-buy for me, I think. This is going to be one of the ones where I have to buy novelties and desk mat too, which is something I don't normally do.
This is, and it's rare I do this, but this is one of those sets where I might even push over and have to ask, not expect, but have to ask that is there a possible chance of putting UK ISO in there, because I really like the set. I like it that much that I would be tempted to ask for them.
Well, it is just an interest check right now, so maybe you'll get that.
I've got the form opened up. I'll be filling it out after the show.
Nice. Very, very nice. All right, moving on. We have a GMK set that's not an interest check. It's in group buy. And this is GMK Bingsu, which you can find over at Project Keyboard if you're in the US. This actually opened on the 15th, so we should have covered it last episode, but hey, I forgot. Sometimes that happens. But
it does, yeah.
Yep, so Bingsu obviously is the set that is themed around, well, Bingsu, which is a Korean shaved ice dish, often incorporating red bean and other things of that nature. So that's what we're going for here. How do you feel about Bingsu, Jay?
I like the idea behind the set. I like the theme of it. I like the colours more specifically. I think it evokes some really nice memories for me. So I really like the set. I think it looks great. I think the modifiers work well with the alpha colour. The white accents look really, really great. It fits the theme well. The base kit support's really strong as well. It's got a numpad in there. ISO support, Sangan support. Pretty much everything you could possibly want. It's also got my favourite way of doing the modifiers and bottom row legends. So it's got half icons, half text, which is a really nice way of including that. And then you've also got accent arrows as well, which is really good to see in a base kit as well, especially for the price at $130. That's pretty damn good, I think, for a base kit these days. In terms of the other kits as well, there is also a modified alpha kit, which gives you the Hangul legends. So again, if you like those sub-legends, you can pick that set up. There's also a spacebar kit, which again looks good, has a standard keys in there, and also offers the Alice style B key. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to stop calling Alice style boards. I'm going to start calling them PhysiX style boards.
Wow.
I'm going to make the change. Be the change you want to see.
You are going to get kicked out of this community, Jay. Everyone's just going to kick you right out of their lives.
They probably really want that to happen anyway, let's be honest. There's also the text mod. If you want to move to text mod novelties, text mod modifiers, you can change those as well. And there's also the 40s and ortho kit too. But more importantly than the kits, I just wanted to shout out around the desk mats, because there's 3 different designs, but one of them is
which is overkill, really, by the way, and probably it is really, really unnecessary.
But one of them is really classy, really nice, and would definitely fit into my workflow. Any guesses as to which that one is, Brian?
The second one, of course.
Yeah, I think that just looks fantastic. Looks so good, so nice.
The first one's really playful. I get it. It's fun. The second one, very elegant. Definitely my favorite as well. The third one, I don't really understand. It looks fine, but I don't know. It doesn't really... I don't think it really fits with the rest of it, personally. But I do love the second one. That is really, really nice. Yeah,
it is lovely. Yeah, and then interestingly as well, there's going to be some collaborations with Alpha Keycaps, CYO, and Cybin caps as well. And then the other thing as well that just to call out here as well is that for anyone who does join the group buy, there is a Kendo which is also being run by Project Keyboard, will be given away to a random purchaser of the set. So that's going to be raffled off as part of that. So very, very interesting. One base kit equals 1 entry, so if you want to buy 10 base kits and get 10 entries, you could do just that. Help get the set to MOQ and help yourself increase your chances of winning a Kendo.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think the set is pretty successful. One thing I did want to call out, though, which I thought was kind of interesting. So originally when this set was up in interest check, they had, I think it was in the base kit, they had 2 tab keys in the base kit. And the idea was that they were always going to do the Hangul Legends, and if you bought the base kit and the Hangul Legends, that second tab key would actually give you just the right amount of keys to have the set on 2 different boards. So the idea was that you could buy basically a base kit plus the Hangul kit. You buy like 1.5 sets, and you have enough to cover 2 entire boards, which I thought was kind of interesting. They have since removed that from the base kit, actually. However, they did add a tab key for the text, not text novelties, the text modifiers. Sorry, I can't English today. I can't word. So you do have a second tab key here, so you can get like the text mods and the Hangul kit, and you can still have enough for a second kit. So still kind of on that idea, but I kind of liked the idea before with the extra tab kit and the base kit, because then you only have to buy these 2 kits, and then you can fit 2 boards. So a little bummed they decided to change that, but you know, this could be successful as well. We don't often see a secondary kit with a set that is just for the modifiers, so obviously this is to change the icon mods over to text mods. That's pretty uncommon, and I'm really curious to see how this particular kit is selling, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the latest numbers we have were on the 21st of October. I don't know if 159's listening in, but as of that point, there was only 23 of them sold, but there was only 21 40s and ortho sets sold, an MOQ of 100. So interesting to see how that does. The base kit was also 126 units, so well into halfway to MOQ. And it runs for another 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks as well. So there's plenty of time left for that to hit up towards MOQ. So it's looking pretty positive for the base kit at least. The other kits, Spacebar's the one that's in the lead at the minute with 47, so that's halfway to MOQ, so that's likely to get made. And Hangul's only got 35. So yeah, be interested to see how those progress and whether all of the kits get made.
Yeah, definitely. So looking pretty good. I definitely like the set. I like the theme. And I
think it looks great.
That second desk mat, it's really nice, man.
It is. I'm definitely getting the second desk mat. Yeah.
It goes to show you just how good a desk mat can look without a whole lot of design going into it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, definitely does. Just before we move on to the next topic, I just want to shout out to Captain Schwa. Thank you very much for 26-month streak, and he gives us a whole bunch of love hearts in purple. Very nice. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Glad to see you're still here, Captain Schwa.
Captain
a real
Schwa.
OG of Top Clack.
Always hanging around. Yeah, great. Do you know the other thing I've noticed as well, Brian? You haven't updated the TC logo on Keycap to our new logo. You've still got the old one on there.
Shh. Nobody else knows.
No, yeah. Don't tell anyone else. Okay.
Don't tell anyone else. Don't tell anyone else.
You have one job, Brian.
I actually forgot to do it somewhere else too, that I just realized today. So I'll fix that. I'll fix that. I don't actually use Geek Hack that much outside of this show.
Oh, so you only use it once a week for the most important part of Top Clack, which is our news show.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Anyways, GMK Bingsu, available right now, open until November 16th. You can find it over at projectkeyboard.com, mykeyboard.eu, and Daily Clack, depending on where you are. And that is a pretty nice base kit for $130. It's a lot of competitive.
It is really, really good base kit for the price. It's really good. Yeah, all inclusive. Yeah.
And of course, when you buy a base kit, you can be entered to win a kendo, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
because that board is pretty awesome.
Who doesn't want a kendo? Yeah,
I want a kendo. I keep asking for a kendo.
Oh, do you? Right, okay.
I'm probably not going to get one. Well, I'm going to try to get one, but my dad will just give me one.
We'll see. Undercover Brother as well says it's time to replace Brian now because you kept it. I think that's probably fair. If anyone does want to apply for the position of co-host on Top Clack alongside me, please just drop me a PM and...
Please, no. Don't kick me off, Jay. Don't do it. Don't do it. Especially
we're gonna get some work done, boys.
Especially when we're so close to finishing today's news doc. There's only one more topic, and this one I imagine is pretty close to Jay's heart here. This is the interest check for the Doddle60. Tell me about the Doddle, because I know you're involved with this project at least a little bit.
Yeah, I have been. So for those that don't know, Gondolindrum is a PCB designer based in South America, and he has been doing loads of series on how to design PCBs with Mr. Keebs live on Twitch, and they've been doing all sorts of great stuff in that kind of space as well, which is really really good to see. The other thing that Gondolindrum likes to do is he likes to do open source projects so he can give back to the community. So design PCBs that people that can then go take the files, have them produce themselves, tweak and change them if they want to, and use them for all of their different projects in a really nice, simple, and even manner. This particular PCB, he wanted to design for ISO users, so it's specifically an ISO user layout. And it's effectively an interest check stroke group buy is this, because it's for 10 PCBs to prove that the prototype to prove that the PCB design works before he makes it open source. So this is basically just ordering the PCBs to check that they work and that people are happy with them and comfortable with them before the design is open sourced. So I've been working with Gondo to try and come up with some layout options and some choices on there, and that's been further refined by the community since the interest check went up, and we came up with the name together. People quite often in the UK say, "Oh, that was a Doddle," when something was really easy to do and nice, something easy to accomplish. So he wanted to kind of put that British kind of slang onto it because I was helping him. So I'm going to be getting one of these. I'm going to help out with the mini group buy for the prototypes. So I'm going to cover all the shipping costs for anyone who buys one within the EU, and you just have to basically pay for the cost of the PCB. So yeah, so that's pretty much it, and that's where we've got to. It will be VIA compatible. It is all QMK based. Sorry, it is all QMK compatible, and VIA might be an opportunity going forward. Sorry, I should let me get that the right way around.
Yeah.
It's something that we're going to produce quite soon. We're going to get it built and made, and we're going to test it and see how it goes.
Yeah, a couple things I noticed right off the bat, obviously in these renders, is you are getting the flex cuts here. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. I like seeing that as someone that likes flexier typing experiences. Love seeing that. As far as the layout is concerned, there is no split right shift. However, I did notice that he is looking into adding that. So if you notice that it's not here, he is adding it. So don't worry, guys. It is happening. Otherwise, pretty nice looking PCB. There's not a whole lot of Swiss cheese because the compatibility is low. It's just what you need as an ISO user, nothing really out of the ordinary or super fancy. It is going to be USB-C, and like Jay mentioned, QMK firmware, so very nice there. So that's pretty cool. Also, I guess there was people asking for an ONSI version of it, which is coming apparently, called the Arctic PCB, which is named after the Brazilian enthusiast Arctic Fox, who does hang out on the Discord sometimes. So shout out to him.
He does, yeah. There's actually two. There's another one called Keebs PCB, which is from Mr. Keebs as well. So if you want an ANSI one, there will be opportunities to test those out as well.
That one's going to be hot swap too, which is pretty interesting.
It is, yeah.
Yep, very very nice. So we'll have to look forward to this. I'm looking forward to checking out one of the ONSI versions, because he did actually message me a few weeks back and told me that was going to be a thing. He wanted to send me one, so very excited to check out these PCBs, especially for the price too. Like these are what, like even this like small proto run is only like $30 a piece, right?
$35, I think it is, something like that.
Which is it's pretty
literally
pretty
done
good.
at cost.
Pretty good,
There's no profit in it. There's nothing else. It's just literally, this is how much it costs at the manufacturer. Divide that by 10. Everyone pays the same price, and I'll pay for shipping for the EU folks that order one. Because let's be honest, most of these are going to sell in the EU. There might be some limited interest outside of the EU, but it's mostly going to sell in the EU. So yeah, definitely going to try that out. And
a lot of people in chat are complaining about the right shift. Like I mentioned just a few moments ago, there will be right shift support for split right shift.
Do you know what? I went back through our conversation, and when Gondo and I were talking about this, when a lot of people were suggesting the right shift, and the one thing we never talked about was the right shift. What options we want to know? We talked about the bottom row. We talked about spacebar options. We talked about backspace. We talked about ISO positions. We talked about splitting the left shift. The only thing we never talked about was the right shift, and I don't know how we missed it, because we spent a couple of days going backwards and forwards over this. We just never talked about the right shift, which is just completely bizarre. But these things happen. Everyone's requested it, and it is going to be on the board, so you'll be able to have the option of either split or full right shift.
Yeah, definitely. And for people asking about the ONSI version, I don't think there's actually an official interest check up for that yet, so I'm assuming that'll come at a later date after this one is successful.
I think the Arctic PCB is already open sourced, if I remember rightly. I'd have to check with Gondo and double check, but as far as I'm aware, that's already been done and that is open sourced already. It's just the hot swap one that needs to be tested first and produced before that becomes open.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So we're going to talk about our sponsors for just a moment. So if you guys have questions, we're going to be moving into our Q&A after the sponsor spot. So ask questions now so we can get to them momentarily. Make sure to use the @TopClack tag so we can see them a lot easier. And speaking of easy, I like really good switches. You know who has some pretty good switches?
Zeal Who's PC. That, man? Who's that?
Yeah, Zeal Generation, aka ZealPC.net/TopClack. If you want to help support us, it'd be awesome. It doesn't cost you anything extra, of course, but it does give us a really, really nice kickback if you do use that affiliate link. So we definitely appreciate that. As far as the products he has going on right now, just the usual stuff going on in stock as usual. So if you want silent linears, silent tactiles, normal tactiles, he's got you covered. I've been using the Zealios a lot lately. I've had them in my my Kepler for a while, and I've been absolutely loving those on the palm plate. So definitely make sure to check out some Zealios. I think they're probably the most interesting switch on the market right now, if not at least one of them. But all the switch lineup from Zeal I do happen to like quite a bit. So again, ZealPC.net/TopClack. If you're going to order some switches or something from Zeal, make sure to use that so you can get a big thumbs up from me and Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of big thumbs up, the next of our wonderful sponsors is Novel Keys. So please do go take a look on their site. There's lots and lots of goodies that are available at the moment. First of all, big shout out, they've got Pretty in Pink in stock. Well, not in stock, but up for group buy at the moment. So if you are interested in joining Pretty in Pink, you can join it via Novel Keys. You can also join it via Dixie and Canon Keys, which is UPass site, and My Keyboard at EU, and loads of other places. So do go and check that out. Outside of charity-based sets, though, GMK Camping Round 2 is into its final few days. If you are interested in camping, it's one of the nicer green sets that we have. Do feel free to join it. It's your opportunity to get hold of a set that was selling on the aftermarket for $300-400 not so long back at a really, really good base price as well. $115 is pretty damn good for base kit. If add-on kits are more your thing, a Greek Beige is also now available on Novel Keys as well. You can go and check that out. That's a $55. I think it's $55. Is it? $30. Wow, yeah, $30. It's a few keys. I was opening up the Korean Beige one by mistake then. Yeah, $30. You can go check out the Beige add-on kit. You can get yourself Greek keys for $30. Great way of accenting existing sets that use that L9 colorway. So yeah, do check that out. And finally, if you want something that's really, really nice and cheap but very, very usable and fitting for a board, and it's more budget-friendly option, then Cubic Black on White is also available. And finally, if you do want to purchase any of the items from Novel Keys that's not in group buy and you want a small discount on it, you can enter the promo code CLACKERS. That's CLACKERS, and that will get you a small discount. For example, you might want to buy the olive plushie and get a small discount on that because it looks amazing.
It's so cute. Like, look at this. do you get the little pimento guy with it too? Is that like just part of it?
Yeah, it just slides out of the.
That is fantastic.
In and out as often as you like, Brian.
Moving right along. Our next sponsor is Input Club over at Coda.store. I'm not even going to address it, Jay. I'm not even going to address it. Where you can find lots of things going on right now, including the group buy for GMK Firefly, still going on right now. That key set is up your style, up your alley. $120 for a pretty decent base kit, if I do say so myself. White Foxes and Night Foxes, both back in stock right now. So if you're looking for one of those, definitely now is the time to get one. You can also check out the MDA Big Bang Round 2, which supports ortholinear for a very, very inexpensive price. And if you're looking more towards the future of keyboards, you can check out the Keystone keyboard, which is still up for pre-order right now as well. That's the full analog, Hall effect, magnetic, everything going on. It's all crazy. It's ridiculous. It's probably going to be pretty awesome. Can't wait to get my hands on one. So make sure to give that a check out as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of things that you might want to check out, we've also got some good things happening on KBDfans at the moment. So they've got a group buy going on right now for SA Mo Choco. So if that's a key set that's up your street, if that's something that you like, feel free to do check that out. There's also the group buy for Max Key's Virtual War as well, which is available right now too. So feel free to have a look at that as well. That's a really nice yellow and dark grey based set. And there's also, I just want to shout out to all of their different kits. KBDfans supports the budget end community really, really well these days. There is a ton of different kits. If you're new to the hobby, you're looking to get someone else interested in the hobby, some of their kits out there, the Tofus, the KBD67, there's a lot of different things that you can take a pick out of for all different shapes and sizes of keyboards, from 60%, 40%, TKL 65%, 75%. Anything you need, KBDfans probably has a budget option in there to help you. So please do check that out. And if you're also into checking out budget options, they also have the secondhand store, which is the slight returns policy boards, which are available under the B stock layer. There's a pretty damn cheap $90 KBDfans 75% aluminium case on there at the minute, as well as some other good bargains as well. So it's always worth checking out on there, because it might be something you want to pick up that saves you just a little bit of money.
Yeah. Sometimes there's like really nice stuff on here, like fully built keyboards with like Zelios or Telios or something, like for like $100. It's like, wow. Sometimes it's actually pretty good value.
Yeah, there was a case on there the other day that I saw that I can't remember what it was. I think it was a KBD 75 V2 case that was fully built up. It had everything plumbed into it, and it was like $105. It was a bargain.
It's
I don't
ridiculous.
Understand why it was so cheap. Crazy.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth checking out the B stock section, like a lot, like even daily if you can, because oftentimes you can find some ridiculously inexpensive, fully built keyboards. So good consideration if you're trying to convert your friend or family member or something for a Christmas present.
It changes often.
Yeah, it does. Last but not least, we have our lovely newest sponsor, the Key Company, which has a few different things going on right now, including GMK Phosphorus, which is their flagship key set for the month. I do like this one quite a bit. Still available, of course, until at least the end of the month, if I'm not mistaken. There's also a desk mat and a Rama cap options as well. That Rama cap is pretty freaking baller, if I do say so myself. Of course, they do still have the Mali open right now, too, which was the long-awaited Apple M0110A keyboard replica kind of going on right here, which is pretty awesome. Lots of different options for that as well. They look absolutely lovely. And they do have a couple other interesting things that are actually coming up very soon. One of them being a group buy round 2 for GMK DMG, which, obviously was a set that shipped not too long ago. Very popular set. They're bringing that back, doing a quick, I think it's a 2-week group buy, so it's a little short of a group buy. But if you missed out on DMG for the first time, or, you've just seen pictures of it and you're loving it and you want to get your hands on a set without spending $400+ or whatever people are selling them for, just wait. It's coming. Round 2 starting November 1st, so you can check that out. As well as tomorrow, there's a group buy for RMK shirts, which is designed by our lovely friend Clavier, who does a lot of cool designs in the community, this being one of them. So make sure to check that out, guys. All right, let's get to the Q&A segment of this show. So if you guys have questions and you haven't asked them already, now's a good time. Make sure you use that @TopClack tag so we can see them. Yeah,
tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you want to hear our thoughts and opinions on. Anything you want us to say or cover, then now's the time, guys, to post up. And just while I'm waiting for guys to post questions in, Gundalindrum, thank you very much for the 100 bits. It says late, but here I am. What's up, people? Glad to see you, my dude. I'm glad to see you. We just talked about the Doddle.
Yeah, we were just talking about you.
Just talking about the Doddle and all of the good things that you're doing for the community. So thank you very much for sharing that with me and working together on that. It was great fun. Really enjoyed it. Okay, so I do see that we've got one tag from Mr. Petrov here. He says, at Top Clack, LZ has just posted on Geekhank that he has many orders for the PhysiX and may 1st close orders tomorrow. Not sure if he's kidding us or not. I would assume, knowing that LZ, if he says he may close orders tomorrow, you might want to get your order in if you are interested in picking one of those boards up. He may or may not close it. He's usually true to his word from what I've seen. He's not usually...
He's a very straightforward, direct person.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Frisco Melt says B. No, we covered that last week. It's not for me. Jay Vaughn asking, can either of you do a backflip real quick? I used to be able to do a backflip. I really don't think I could anymore.
Yeah, I could do them when I was like 15-ish. That's like nearly 20 years ago. Ain't happening now. Sorry.
Yeah, we're getting a little too old for that kind of stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah. Janky Render says 7U versus 6.25U difference.
Phenomenal username, by the way.
It is a great username. So personally, I prefer 7U spacebars usually, not just because of the length, but because of the change it makes to the bottom row. I much prefer to have an even bottom row. Usually, symmetrical. Usually referred to as a Sangan or wing keyless bottom row, depending on what board you're using. Over a 6.25U. I've got it on my board, but I can't pick it up right now.
I'm trying to show the differences while you talk about it, because I actually have both right here. So
okay, cool.
I've been using this to break in these Katakana PBT keycaps, and this is using a hot swap PC with a standard bottom row. It's a 6.25 spacebar. So obviously, as you can see, that bottom row is not symmetrical. The spacebar is closer to this side, because there's only 3 1.25U keycaps on this side, and there's 4 on this side. So the spacebar is moved over a little bit. You don't really get the symmetry. I don't think it's quite as aesthetically pleasing personally, but this is what the opposite looks like. So this is when you actually have symmetry. This is a 7U spacebar. HHKB blockers, of course, but the bottom row is still perfectly symmetrical. So a lot of people like that because it's more aesthetically pleasing. Personally, that's why I like it as well.
Yeah, exactly right. I prefer it on 60s TKLs, everything you can use it on 7U spacebar. That's where I want to be. Yep. Okay, 10 Strong says, at Clack, do those laser gats feel like linear gats outside of Inks or Zeal line? So what do they feel like, bro?
I'm gonna open up the bag right now and test. I did play around with one yesterday when they came in, but I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. Just upon inspection, to me, it feels and looks just like a recolored Gateron. So just like some things like the Tangerine switches, the C3 Tangerines, or like the Fey Matcha switches, or the Linears, which are affectionately named the IKEA switch. It feels a lot like that. It feels like a standard Gateron linear, maybe a little bit better. Gateron linears obviously have improved and evolved over the last several years since they launched. So it feels like a good linear, but it doesn't blow my mind. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's a good recolored Gateron. That's what it feels like to me. But I will be putting them in a board and testing them. Then I'm going to be lubing them and testing them. Then I'll write up a little piece on it for the website. Actually, tonight I'm going to be working on just a quick write up for the Marshmallow switches as well. So
nice.
Yeah. So they're not blowing my mind yet, but we'll wait to see. We get them in the board, but first impressions are it's a nice recolored Gateron.
Nice. Sounds good. When you send me those ones over, Brian, it might actually tempt me to finally open my set of GMK laser that's still sealed.
You've never opened it, huh?
Never opened it. Never taken the keycaps out of the box. The plastic's still sealed on it as well, so it's never even been out of the plastic wrap. Same with DMG as well. That's still in the plastic wrap.
How do you not use DMG? Oh my god.
It's literally I like, you guys can't see this, but just off camera, to my left hand side, I've got a stack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 GMK sets that are completely unused, Cherry Katakana, and some other stuff in boxes that I can't even see. Yeah, and I think nearly all of them are brand new and never been opened.
You're a bad man, Jay. You really are.
I don't build enough. That's the problem. I don't.
You build every week. You build a board every week. I need
to build more because next to that I've got a stack of keyboards and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 keyboards just there. That's the queue for the build streams. Not to mention whatever else I've got that I want to rebuild. Like I want to rebuild the ANSI and a few of the bits and pieces as well. So yeah. And plus the stuff in the garage as well that I haven't even sorted through. Vintage boards, I've got some duck boards and stuff like that I haven't even brought in the house yet. They're still just sat in boxes in the garage because I haven't sorted them. So yeah,
you need to stop flexing so much.
I don't mean it as flexing.
No, you're Are you yeeting? Are you yeeting?
Sure. Yeah.
Fantastic. Javon asking what our Grail board is. So the Holy Grail, I imagine. What's our end game board? This is an easy question for me because I don't have an answer. There's no,
No,
I don't
you
think.
can't cop out
No,
like
no,
that.
no,
Come on.
hold on, bro, chill. I'm gonna explain why I'm copying out though. So the way I view this hobby is less about finding my ultimate board and more about trying everything that I possibly can in every configuration that I possibly can. With that in mind, I don't have a configuration that I think is just the end all be all for anything ever. I like the variety. I want to swap between. It doesn't matter what the board is. I want to swap between it with the rest of my collection as well. Stop looking at me like that, Jay. You know, this is always how I approach this question. I don't have.
I
Do you
feel
have
like
one
it's...
board to rule them all? One configuration to rule them all?
Yeah. Yeah. If I
You
could
do?
only ever
Okay.
use one board, one configuration, never touch
No, no,
anything
no.
else.
That's not the question. That's not the question. It's what is your Grail board, Jay?
Yeah, the board I designed, the JO1.
All right. Well, as you can see, Jay and I have different approaches to the hobby.
All right, okay. I'm gonna go away from chat for a second. I'm gonna ask you a question. If you could pick, and you have to answer this. I don't want you to back out. If you could pick one keyboard that has been designed and run in a group buy and exists today to never have happened, which keyboard would you pick?
So basically, deleting a keyboard from existence.
From history as though it never happened, if you could pick one keyboard that's running group buy at some point somewhere and just delete it from existence, which keyboard would you pick?
JO1.
Thanks.
I'm
Wow.
kidding, obviously.
Wow.
That's an interesting question. I don't really see. Is it the? I guess it's just the opposite of the Grail question, right? It's just
You're
the
right.
keyboard that I like the least. I
Well, it might not even be something you own. It might be something you disapprove of, or you dislike, or which keyboard would you get rid of? Guys in chat, tell me what your answer to this as well is. I'm interested to read through.
Does the keyboard have to physically exist, or like do ICs?
Yeah, I don't mean like
okay.
no ICs. Has to exist. It has to be a group buy that has delivered.
Delivered group. Okay. Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know if there's any board that I hate enough, or dislike enough, or disapprove of enough to have to warrant deletion from existence. You got me really thinking though.
Yeah, and it has to be one that's shipped. So guys, I can see a lot of you talking about group buys that are still either in interest check or waiting to ship. But I'm just thinking ones that have shipped, things that people own already and exist, and no one's waiting for a board or anything like that. They exist at people's houses and they're there.
Interesting. Lumina? Nah, Lumina maybe.
It's not shipped.
That's true.
It's not delivered.
That's true.
Doesn't count.
That's true. Man, a delivered keyboard that I. Jeez.
Right. Let's come back to this.
What is your answer?
Oh, my answer is the Doddle60 because I was just thoroughly disappointed with how the group buy ran, the quality of the board, the actual way the board works in the end. Completely, I would. It's literally the only group buy I ever regret joining, and I would remove that board from existence if I could.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get back to you on this one. I will answer this one though. I need some time to think about this one.
You can let it percolate, let it simmer, then we'll come back to that at the end of the show. The last question will be, you need to give an answer to that question. So next question came from Slippery PED. It says, why no full left shift available on the ISOFlex PCB with gondolindrum? No love for US ISO. That is being added. It's part of the interest check, so people have requested that, so it will be added as far as I'm aware. Ballin Boys, thank you very much for the 300 bits, saying thanks for the show, guys. No, thank you for the bits. We appreciate all the support we get. So thank you very much for that too.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, just thank you for watching. Yeah. WT1155.
You forgot you skipped over one actually. You skipped over my new favorite username, Janky Render, who's asking our thoughts on the Rama U80A. So the Rama U80 TKL that Witten Group by not too long ago. I think it looks pretty awesome. I really like Rama, and I like pretty much all of Rama's products. I know they can be a little controversial because people whine about things like integrated plates or the mute mat or whatever. I don't know. I think Rama makes really, really high quality products, and it's very, very apparent. And I feel pretty much the same about the U80 TKL. I think it looks really good. It'll probably perform pretty well. I think it has a lot of good creative design aspects to it, and I think Rama does a good job.
I completely agree with you on the creativity and completely agree with you on the looks and Rama's design aesthetic. I don't really want to say what my thoughts on the actual board are until I try one. Hopefully, at one of the meetups that I go to, someone will have one I can have a type around on it and play and feel and stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of everything that Rama does, yeah, no problem with that.
Have those shipped yet? I don't think they have, right?
No, I think they ship later this year. I think November was the timeline. I think could be wrong. Okay. So back to the question from WT1155. Have you discussed the new Mythos keycaps? Yes, if you watch the VOD, you'll be able to scroll back and see that. Yep. Javon asking if we're all going to KeyCon. Sadly, I'm not. I went to Seattle earlier on this year, which was a bit of a big trip for me. And I'll be at the UK meetup on Saturday. Brian, are you going to KeyCon?
Isn't KeyCon in June? Isn't that usually what it is? I'm pretty sure KeyCons are generally in June. I also heard that it's not going to be in New York. This next one, it's going to be in Vegas. Am I right? Maybe someone can clarify that. Because last I checked, it was KeyCon was like in New York in June. That was the last KeyCon, right? Oh, Denver. It's going to be in Denver this year. Vegas next. Okay. If it's in January. If it's in January, I'm probably not going to be able to go. If it's later in the year, like mid-year or like Q3, Q4, like I might be able to go. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it to a Denver January meetup, unfortunately.
Okay, next tag is from UPass. He says, Jay, if you don't want it, let me know. I assume he means laser or DMG.
Laser, I think. Yeah. Or DMG, yeah.
Key.company says, Jay, willing to buy Pearl? Okay.
Are you... I assume you would already have a Pearl.
I do, yeah.
I just assume you have every board.
On the wall. Yeah, I've got a Pearl just up there. Number 89 is my Pearl. It's not for sale at the minute. If you mean to buy it off me, I don't want another one. I don't use the one I've got. Never mind, buy another one. So yeah. Junkie Render says, oh yeah, so he's pinged us again with the same question. Yep, we've got that one covered. Just scrolling down. Mike Click. Yeah, go on.
He's asking, switches always have a rated lifespan of XX thousands or millions key presses. Have either of you, quote-unquote, worn out any mechanical key switch? That's an awesome question, actually. I've never had.
I've worn in switches.
Well,
never worn out.
Yeah, the question is obviously, have you expired a switch by using it for so long or for so much?
Okay. So personally, no, I haven't. But what I have heard some anecdotal tales of is the new Holy Pandas that have run through Mass Drop. People experiencing them stopping working after 3 or 4 months in a board now, I think, or whatever it is since they shipped. So Egler, who's part of the international kit, he's got 4 or 5 keys on his Holy Panda board. They've just stopped working after a short amount of time, maybe 6-8 weeks after he's built his board. They've just stopped, and he's had to desolder those switches and replace them. So. Yeah, that's the closest I've ever had to it.
Those are the ones from Drop, right?
Yeah, they drop Holy Pandas.
I've heard a couple instances of those just not working, like, out of the box. So maybe they have some kind of, like, issue with their leaves or something.
Maybe, yeah.
But when you say worn out and you put quotes around it, I assume you mean use the Switch so much that it no longer works because it's served its entire life. In which case, I would say no. That's never happened to me.
What you have to bear in mind is when they say it's rated for at least 50 million clicks. That's a lot. That is an absolute ton of usage.
And that's the baseline. Most of them will go much farther than that.
Oh, yeah. That's the minimum they will do. And the maximum is they'll probably do 10 times that. You could probably have 500 million clicks on some switches and it would still carry on as normal.
Yeah.
Just be completely fine.
I mean, just look at all the boards from the late 70s, early 80s that have been beat to hell that people are harvesting vintage blacks from. Those are still very fine, fully functioning switches. So yeah, there's that. Talisman tags me, and he's asking, I thought you were in the hobby waiting for J-Keeps to make that one mistake on stream so you can jump on him. I'm always trying to jump on Jay. That's only because I like him.
That's different though, yeah. That's not a negative thing.
Yeah. I like to. I think I mentioned this even to you, Jay, before the show. I like to include a lot of like banter on the show.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just for comedic purposes and nothing more. I wouldn't have brought Jay on Top Clack if I didn't like him and didn't believe in him and didn't, you know, benefit from his knowledge and experience. Like, that's not how that works. Like, we're actually friends.
We get on secretly.
I had one person actually PM me like a couple months ago. Like, why are you so mean to Jay on the show? And I'm like, am I really? I'm sorry. So just to clarify that for people that might not know any better, Jay is fantastic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the support. Yeah. I wish I could say the same about you, but I can't.
Well, yeah, I would not say the same about me. I am not fantastic. Sheesh. Janky Renders asking, have you ever seen GMK Joe? I think that's running on some Korean site. Do you mean Joe Mama? Is that a Joe Mama joke? Because that is just like playing.
It must be.
Right now. It has to be.
It must be. It must be.
All right, still scrolling. Slippery Pete asking, he tags us and says, I asked this a long time ago, and Brian told me he needed more time. Enough time has been given. Who in this community has had your favorite redemption arc? Oh man, that was indeed a question that was asked a while back. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't thought about that at all. So let me give that a quick think right now. Who in the hobby is your favorite redemption arc?
So someone who's done something untoward and then redeemed themselves through future interactions or decisions or otherwise behavior. Interesting.
Oh man, yeah, it's such a good question too. I feel like I'm never able to answer the really good questions because they require way too much thought.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of quite a few people that have done.
Who are some candidates for this question in your mind?
Candidate number one, Sprit. He obviously had all those problems a long time ago that people are still quite, verbal about at times in the community. I think he's very much turned a corner in the past 2 years, especially towards the beginning of this year when he had problems shipping because he was shipping to vendors and he refunded everyone and still shipped them their springs as well. And right now he's never been as communicative and as open as he is at the minute. You know, he responds to pretty much everything instantly. So I think he's a candidate. He's very much on the straight and narrow now. Who else?
Yeah, I feel like it's a tough question because there haven't been very many people in this community that have failed like to that extent and then came back.
Yeah, you tend to find that the people that do fail just leave the community.
Yeah, exactly. Or they just basically go silent in some format.
Yeah. Like Ivan, for example, run loads of successful group buys, then ran one that just disappeared and never came back, and never shipped anything either. So there's other people at that end of the scale as well.
I can't think of like anyone besides Sprit that has had like a real serious issue with the community and then came back to like, keep doing stuff.
I guess, and this is controversial because KBDfans are one of our sponsors, but Way handled the whole issue with the whole Stelio stuff, which I hate talking about now. But I feel like he did the right things, made the right actions. Was very apologetic. And as much as we know about the story, we still support KBDfans. We still support Zeal as well, of course. So that's another opportunity to look at there. I guess there's another one in the works at the minute. We all know that Teslatron's had problems with the Lunar group buy, but he's actually got some boards now and he's starting to ship things slowly. So that might be a redemption arc if Teslatron can actually fulfill all of those group buys and uphold his promises, which I hope he can. So that might be something that's coming round. We just need to wait. And
would you classify that as redemption though, or like because like that would just be like the normal thing that should have happened?
If he returns to the community afterwards and is an engaging member of the community, yes. If he just disappears after he's fulfilled, then kind of not redemption. He's just fulfilled his duties.
Yeah. I feel like doing what is expected isn't necessarily redeeming. Redeeming to me feels like going above and beyond.
I don't know. I disagree. I think redeeming can be going from setting an expectation, which is almost like a level playing field. I'll do this at these stages. Not delivering on one of those tends to cause a dip. And then when you increase that kind of goodwill and you kind of do, you drag yourself out of that dip through doing, certain works and stuff like that, and so make sure you do the right behaviors and activities and all of that kind of good stuff. I feel like just breaking even at the end can sometimes be a good thing, especially when things have looked in doubt and people have questioned your ability to do that. So I disagree about going above and beyond, but I think there is a qualification that people would have to then become an active member of the community again and not just disappear.
Yeah, man, it'd be interesting if Teslatron had that scenario play out where he ships out everything as he was supposed to, and then he just comes back to the community. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, what you can't take away from Teslatron, he's a great designer. Okay, sure, he's not had a particular good experience with running the group buys and stuff like that. He's probably bitten off more than he could chew, rushed into things a little bit too much. I think he's very aware of his mistakes, and I think a lot of the community are as well, and a lot of people are very vocal about it. But the guy did design good keyboards. I mean, we still see them in production today. The Kepler, for example, and stuff like that. So, the guy was a great designer.
Yeah. I completely agree. Some Dim Sum is asking, can you explain the differences between analog, tactile versus linear switches? New to the hobby, still learning, so sorry if it's an obvious answer. Okay. Analog, tactile versus linear switches. Let's see. Are there any analog, tactile switches on the market right now?
I'm just trying to think through. There's analog clickies that I've seen, but I don't think I've seen any analog tactile. Unless Gateron have some.
I don't. Yeah, Gateron has analog linears.
I don't know if they have any tactiles. And probably the question here is what we need to do is determine what the difference between analog and standard MX switches are. So just to try and clarify that, a standard MX switch has a mechanism inside it where you have a leaf with two contact points, and as you press the switch, those two contact points come into connection. They complete a circuit, and that then produces the response from your keyboard. What analog switches do, they have some other mechanism, usually related to light, and as the switch is depressed, there's a sensor in the PCB that determines how far that's gone down using either a laser or light-based solution. So there's a couple of different implementations. There's a Gateron one. There's another one in the I've forgotten the name of the boards. Wooting boards. They've got flare tech switches, which use light pipes inside the switch to determine how far it's been pressed. So those are the main differences. One is a physical contact point. The other one is an arbitrary set distance performed by some sort of light-based resistor as well.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between analog and standard MX. In terms of tactile and linear, tactile switches have a bump as you're pressing them. So there's a kind of a shape on the front of the stem that as you press it, it forces a bump, and you can feel almost like some tactility, some movement within the switch that gives feedback to your fingertips. Linears, it's just very much straight up and straight down.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is, and probably the reason we don't really see much, if any, analog tactiles yet in the community, is the fact that in traditional tactile switches, you achieve the bump between the stem and the metal leaf. And in analog switches, you have no need for that metal leaf, like Jay mentioned. So, when you don't have that metal leaf for the stem and the switch to actually rub up against to create the tactility, it's a little bit harder to actually get and achieve tactility. So you have to have an entirely new switch design to be able to achieve tactility without the metal leaf.
Yeah, I guess there's ways of doing it. You could do something like a click bar that doesn't click or something like that to give you some tactility and add in some sort of stress point to the stem or otherwise. There's options. There's ways of doing it.
There's definitely ways of doing it. It's just still a different design from a standard tactile switch. All right. Breeze1623 is asking, any word on the IDB60 Pingu situation?
So UPass and I have a plan. We're probably not quite ready to share that publicly. So we had a meeting the other day, the UPass and I. We think we've got a way forward. We're still finalising the details of that. In terms of practical stuff, we haven't heard anything from Pingu as yet. So as far as we know, he's still out of the community.
Do you want to give a really brief overview on what's going on? Because some people might not actually know what's going on with Pingu right now.
Yeah, sure. So Pingu was a member of the European community. He was responsible for helping people with all sorts of different designs and multiple other things. And he decided to run the IDB60 group buy, which is for a 60% board that was PCB mount with UPass. So the design had already been done. He had some prototypes made. I brought one to the Seattle meetup. Brian, you really enjoyed that board, I think, if I remember rightly.
I did.
And what they decided to do between Pingu and UPass was split the production between the US and the rest of the world, effectively. So Pingu looking after the rest of the world orders, and UPass looking after the US orders. The group buy was pretty successful. It sold out pretty quickly. Everyone paid their monies and did all of the usual stuff. They did the thing. They clicked the button. They sent the monies. We need a T-shirt with that on, right?
We do. Mountain blocks, please.
Yeah, it's like the for those who watch it, Binky would make the noise T-shirts. But yeah, so the group buy ran successfully. Pingu and UPass collected all the monies. They ordered and paid for all of the boards to be produced. They paid for all of the PCBs, the gaskets, everything else that's needed, all bought and paid for. Right at that point when the group buy closed. A couple of weeks later, Pingu kind of disappeared, and we haven't seen or heard from him since. People have tried to investigate if he's okay, but we've not had any response from him. The factory's not had any response from him. Someone did try to go visit him. Saw some neighbours who said they'd seen him recently, but that was over a month and a half ago now, and it was quite close to the time when he stopped responding on Discord, so we don't know if he's been seen since. I tried to speak to the police in his area, in his hometown. I sent them a bit of a description of what happened, all of his details, his home address, everything else. They, due to legal reasons in the EU, they can't tell me what their investigation involves or whether they've spoken to him or not. But the only response I got back from the police was there's no cause for concern at present. But I don't know if the way they worded it was really ambiguous as to whether they just read my emails and thought there was no cause for concern, or whether they'd actually gone out and spoken to him and there was no cause for concern. Either way, at the minute, I hope everyone else just hopes that Pingu is okay. He's getting help if he needs help, and he's doing whatever he is. It's not a case of a group buy running off and taking all the money with them. That's not the case. There was very little profit margin on the IDB60 anyway, and everything's been paid for apart from shipping costs. And that kind of left us in a bit of a hole. So I think it's nearly 12 weeks since Pingu last mentioned anything anywhere on any Discord server or website, or responded to an email. And in fact, his emails actually now is not active anymore. You get a response from his email saying it's now been disabled. So I think his website's expired and he's lost the domain through that as well. So what UPass and I are going to try and do is UPass has already got all of the IDB60s from the US group buy. He's already shipped those, and they're all with the owners now. What we're trying to do is get the factory to release the rest of them to me so that I can ship out to the EU folks. That's going to be a slow process because we don't have a list of who bought the boards. We don't have a list of people's addresses. We don't have a list of the PayPal transactions. We don't know who's paid for what options. So there's going to be a whole bit of a palaver to try and get that kind of level of detail out and make sure every claim is valid and stuff like that. But the first thing that UPass and I need to approach is getting the boards from the factory to me, and then we can go from there. And UPass has kindly agreed to donate all of the profits that he's made from the US group buy to helping us fund that shipping to me, any customs and import fees, and start to go towards the shipping that people have already paid for their board as well. There is a highly probable likelihood that we will have to ask people to donate some more money just to make sure that we can ship the boards, and we can't do anything like swap spots or anything else like that because we don't have access to the PayPal account. So it's a very difficult situation right now. We do have a plan for a plan. We know how we're going to approach it. We had a good talk the other day. We know what we're going to try and do for the community, how we're going to try and support it.
Jay, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second and say I'm going to be right back. So just continue your story, but I'm going to be right back.
Okay, sure. And we're just going to, we're going to have an announcement in a couple of weeks to try and make sure that that's really clear and how we can approach that. So if anyone is really worried about the IDB60 group buy, please do just drop me a PM, drop UPass a PM. We'll happily talk to you about it. We're going to have some forms set up in the next couple of weeks where people can submit evidence of how they've bought the board board and what they've bought and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we did all just see Brian's butt crack as he was walking back. So let's get the crevice lighting jokes in there now, and we'll see him when he comes back in a second. So someone clip it as well, yeah, and get that, yeah. We should get that up there. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But UPass and I will have an announcement in the next couple of weeks as soon as we've got something more concrete. So if anyone does have any questions, that please reach out and let us know. So, Rose, I hope that answers your question. We are looking into it. We hope we can sort it out, and we'll do our best. But please bear in mind, it's going to be slow, and it is best endeavours basis. I mean, it's going to take me months to ship the boards. I'll be honest. It's even if we get the boards soon, it's going to be likely next year before the group buy concludes. Okay, I don't want to scroll too far down chat because I'll lose all of the questions. But Brian is on his way back, so let's get the crevice lighting jokes going now, guys, and get him ready for those. And yeah, that's it.
Crevice lighting? What did I miss?
when you got up, we nearly got banned from Twitch, dude.
Did we?
Yeah, your builders area was showing quite significantly.
My builders area?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, you know, you gotta get banned for something, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, where are we at in the Q&A here?
Next question comes from Nebula. He says, shout out to the NorCal November 9th meetup in San Jose. So, yeah, if you guys are going to that, I hope you have a great time. Brian, are you going over to the NorCal meetup?
No, I'm not going to make it this time, unfortunately, for a couple of reasons. But, you know, it is what it is. I plan to go to another meetup in 2020. Whether it's NorCal or KeyCon or something else is undecided. But I do want to go to a meetup outside of Washington in 2020.
You come to the UK meetup tomorrow.
All right, I'm packing my bags right now. I'll see you in a couple hours. All right.
Urban the Second says, Jay, Brass. Yeah, you comment on every single stream, dude. Sure, Brass. Okay.
Brass?
Just Brass. Yeah.
I don't get the joke.
He has a thing for brass. He has a fetish for brass, and he likes to let me know that he's still thinking about it, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. Whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah. I respect it. Upas asking an actual question this time, is what he says. What are your favorite artisan sculpts? All right, yeah, we don't talk a lot about artisans on the show these days. So what are your favorite sculpts?
So my top three in no particular order. I really like a Kipura. I've got quite a lot of those. I really like the Kipura sculpt. Something that I actively collect and look for and search for. I also have a fair amount of in fact, I think I've probably got more Fugthulus than Kipuras right now. But I really like the Fugthulu sculpt as well. It's a favorite of mine. And then the last one is one that I'm still chasing down, is a Lost Pilot. Last Pilot. I don't have one, and I really like that sculpt. And one day I will get my hands on one. So yeah, those are probably my three favorite artisan sculpts.
Nice. I'm not super into artisans these days. I used to be really into artisans years ago, and I kind of just I don't ever really have very much money, so I kind of had to make a choice early on in my keyboard career whether I wanted to move more towards keyboards or more towards artisans. And I settled on more towards keyboards, so I kind of just left artisans to the wayside. I do really like pretty much anything from Booper. I'm a really big fan of Booper. Anything by Key Collective or Gaff. I think Joey still does a really, really amazing job on everything he does.
He does, yeah.
I've spent time with him. He's a really, really, really cool guy. So Booper is an amazing gal as well. A lot of really cool people. I like pretty much anything by Nightcaps, Marcus. He actually just somewhat recently moved to less than an hour away from me. So he keeps telling me to come visit his new studio, and I still haven't checked it out yet. But eventually, I do want to make my way up there.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, Marcus, Eat the Food, really, really awesome guy. I since I've kind of moved away from collecting artisans, I kind of just spend more time interacting with the people behind them, and I kind of support specific artists, regardless of the sculpts they do, but more just on the people they are. So because of that, I really do support people like Booper, like Joey from Gaff and Key Collective, like Eat the Food, Nightcaps. CYO Keycaps, I think he's a really nice guy as well. He does a lot of cool things, and he's given Jay and I some artisans that are really, really cool.
Yeah, I've got a macro pad that's almost entirely full of CYO caps. There's a few others, but most of the ones on there are CYO. Yeah, great caps.
Yeah. Aside from them, there's so many artisans these days, and I don't even know most of them anymore. So, but yeah, anything. I was a really big fan of the Snackies V2 from Key Collective. That was
oh nice, yeah.
The fruit reboot. That was my jam. I'm a really big fan of blanks. And I like the idea of encapsulation. And back before everyone was doing encapsulation, Key Collective was kind of the only one doing it, like 3-4 years ago. And it was really cool because, you know, at the time no one else was doing it, so it was very like exclusive to them. And it was cool because the cap felt like a keycap. It didn't feel like some crazy like sculpt for a cap that you don't actually want to press that's going to hurt your finger. It was a very usable and functional cap, but still had so much character, and I loved that quite a bit. So good question though. Good question. WT1155 is asking next board that you are excited about after the Iron 165, and then he follows that up by asking me if I got an Iron 165. I cannot afford anything right now, unfortunately. So it's kind of a bummer, but you know, the Iron 165 is a really cool board. Maybe I can pick one up on the aftermarket or something. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've got an Iron 165 right at the side of me, but sadly it's not mine. I have to give it back after the meetup tomorrow. But I did buy one. I bought an FE, so I'm waiting for that to ship sometime next year. Boards I'm looking forward to. There's quite a lot of boards I'm interested in. I'm not sure if anything's jumping out to say, you know, that I'm dead excited for something else. Brian, is there any boards that you're really excited for?
I'm really excited for the Kendo.
Okay.
Aside from the Kendo, nothing else really jumps out at me. The Chimera, maybe. I think the Chimera is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
Even though I'm not really a 65% kind of guy, I think the Chimera is an exceptional board. Yeah, I don't know. Aside from those two, I don't really have anything that jumps out at me after the Iron 165.
Yeah, I'm struggling for other stuff. I mean, of course, I'm really excited about doing the JO2, but other than that's you know, I already have one. I need to get the other tops for it, but yeah, other than that, it's difficult. There's just so much stuff going on that I'll have a different answer for you every week, I think.
Yeah. Javon asking if we're buying a new style Model F at all. So he links to modelfkeyboards.com. If I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to open it up and make sure. This is the project that's been ongoing for quite a few years now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think this started in like 2016. This group buy has been going on for a very long time, unfortunately. But if we're talking just strictly about the product itself, I think it's a really awesome product. I'm a really big fan of Model F's. Capacitive buckwing spring, I think, is amazing.
Have any of these actually shipped yet?
No. The group buy is still going, I'm pretty sure. I don't think these are shipped at all. But yeah, I think the idea of it is really good. I'm a really big fan of the Model F. I used to own one. I spent a lot of time with it. It was an amazing typing experience. It's an enormous board, so I didn't really use it very long. But I like the idea of the smaller Model Fs, and they look like they could have a lot of potential. But until they actually ship, you know, it's a bummer because this group buy has been going on since like 2016. So it's kind of hard to respect that when it's been going on for so long.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see when these do start to ship. I never did join it, but yeah, it's a great project either way. I hope everything goes successfully with it.
Yep. Just trying to wrap up quick here, so we're just kind of lightning around the rest of the questions that we come across here. Janky Render asking another question: have you tried the drop Holy Pandas? Yes, they feel like Holy Pandas, except for some of them feel inconsistently lubed, some of them feel over lubed, and apparently some of them don't work.
Yeah, I've got a bag full of them. I think I've got a couple of hundred, but I've not actually used them as yet. So yeah.
The ones I have are fine. They're Holy Pandas. That's what they feel like to me, which is, you know, at one point it was my favorite Switch, but the times have changed and it's just another Switch to me now.
Yep. Just a shout to Sweet as well. He says hi BB with his subscription tier 1 sub, currently on a 4-month streak. Yeah, thanks dude, appreciate that. Existentially yours as well with a 3-month subscription. Thank you very much, appreciate that too.
I love that username, by the way.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great.
10 Strong asking a pretty good question, actually. Where are the optical customs at? When the Keystone was announced, we were saying, yeah, there are a number of makers trying new stuff to that front, but I haven't seen anything so far. Yeah, it's so hard to break away from that right now, right? Because everything that we do is based around the standard MX switch format. That's just what it is, and that's been a thing for like 60 years now or whatever. Like the normal MX switch, it's not a new design. Obviously, things like optical and contactless switches are going to be the future. It's just a very slow transition, I guess. And until people are actually, willing to put in the work, willing to put in the effort to design optical supported PCBs, it's going to be a very slow process. We have to have some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Standardization. We have to have some kind of standardization to actually be able to design around first. So whoever starts putting out the PCBs, I think, is going to be the kind of pioneer of this. Once we get PCBs on the market, it's going to be a lot easier to design things like cases around for it. Optical switches are already available. They're not necessarily widely available, and you don't necessarily have a lot of options, but there are optical switches on the market, and they are pretty good.
Yeah, you can get PCBs for them as well. The Gator optical switch PCBs, you can get them all over Taobao and AliExpress. So.
Yeah, there's like 1 or 2, I think, but it's certainly not a mainstream product yet. And until we get people in our niche community designing PCBs for the custom community, I don't think we're really going to see much of that until then.
Sure.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, not really. I think you've summed it up really well there. Really well. Junkie Render says you could come to Vancouver for the Q1 meetup. Yeah, I mean, for me to fly to Vancouver, it's going to be another few $1,000s, so I'm not going to do that. I'm afraid, sadly, not in Q1 anyway. Brian, you fancy popping over the border? It's not too far for you. You could probably even drive it.
Yeah, Vancouver meetup. I think that's only about 3-ish hours away, 3 or 4 hours away, maybe.
Yeah,
so
you could do that easy.
I just need to get. I don't have a passport because I've never actually left the country before. So I need to get a passport or an EDL or something so I can actually leave. I should get one though because I do want to come out to the UK, honestly.
Yeah, you have to get over here now. I've done the US trip. You have to do the UK trip to get yourself a passport.
You're right. It's only fair. It's only fair. All right, still trying to catch up in the chat here.
Lots of crackums.
Yeah, I just got to that. Someone actually clipped it too. That's pretty funny. I'll have to watch that later. I'm sure all of you were incredibly aroused.
I'm not sure aroused is the right word.
It's the right word. All right, Mike Click's asking where are meetups generally announced. Reddit. RMK is a really good place to look for meetups. They have a sticky. They have a sticky post usually, as well as a banner at the top of the subreddit, which you can click on and it'll bring you to all of, like, the official meetups. That's one of the better things RMK is useful for these days.
Absolutely, yeah. Zui says, is the 24 stream soon or soon TM? It's soon TM. It is going to happen. We just need to sort it all out. This year has been an up and down roller coaster for both mine and Brian's personal lives and Top Clack as a whole and everything else. And timing has just conspired against us. But we will get there. We will do it at some point soon. Yeah. Eventually. .tm.
Yeah. It'll happen. It'll be awesome. But it's just a matter of when.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. It will happen. Frisco Melt saying at Top Clack, don't you agree that Pretty in Pink is a must-buy for everyone that can? Yeah, if people can afford it, they've got the spare money, they want to buy some nice keycaps, they want to support a good charity, it's a really great thing to join. I can't think of anything better to join.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not terribly expensive. If someone can comfortably afford it and they're going to use it, yeah, buy it.
Go for it. Yeah. It's for a good cause, really good cause.
Yeah. Absolutely. Gondolindrum with our next question, asking I have designs for Roamer G and Gateron optical PCBs, but they are not easy to get. Okay. Yeah, it's difficult. It's a similar reason why we don't see a lot of custom Topra in the community. It takes a lot of effort to work around and actually make a design for, so people don't generally want to do that.
Slippery Pete saying, if I remember correctly, IDs are good for cross-border land travel, and you may not need a passport there. So,
at least last time I checked, you need something I hear called an EDL, Enhanced Driver's License, or something similar. A basic state-issued ID won't actually get you across the border anymore, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, 10 Strong says ID is not good enough for cross-border change. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Where are we up to?
I think we are caught up officially.
Talisman says aroused as the new appalled, so he's changing the definition of aroused in the dictionary there. That might be closer to the actual thing. Yeah. And we've been raided as well by a party of 2 from Vega Rock. So thank you very much for joining the front. I hope everyone's having a good day.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you are joining right at the end of the stream, I'm afraid, guys. We are literally back.
Yeah, we're pretty much closing it up here, guys.
We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here.
Yeah. Right.
Frisco there with the at everyone links and prices for all of the different stuff for Pretty in Pink as well. Great shilling there, man. We really genuinely think that's a good cause.
Go buy Pretty in If Pretty in Pink doesn't meet MOQ, it's going to be a very sad day for our community that we couldn't get Pretty in Pink to MOQ. A $45 add-on kit with a 250 MOQ when all these sets are selling 500, 750, 1,000 plus units. Come on. Get on it, guys. If you can afford it and it's something you'll use, just buy it. Don't think twice. Absolutely.
Just do it. Just get it. Just support the cause.
Yeah. What did Jay say earlier? Do the things, click the buttons, send the monies, or whatever.
Yeah. The new top
we gotta make that a shirt. That'd be such a cool shirt.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to hit up Mounted Blocks afterwards and see if we can get some shirts made. Definitely going to make that.
Good idea. All right, guys. Well, now that we're approaching the 3-hour mark, how do these shows always go to 3 hours? Our news stock was not even that heavy this week.
Do you know what? We got to the last news item and it was here it was 10 to 4. I thought, oh, we're going to finish 2 hours. It's great. I'm going to get plenty of sleep tonight. I'm going to be able to go to bed. I'm going to be able to get up and normal time refreshed. It's going to be fantastic. And now it's 4:42 a.m. and it's going to be 5 o'clock before I get any sleep.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad. All right, guys. Well, now is as good a time to leave you guys as any, I guess. So,
absolutely.
Upcoming things. Tomorrow I might be build streaming. I have some other things I have planned tomorrow, so depending on how those work out, I might be trying to get in a stream with the Perry 60 V2 that I just got in the other day. So I'll put that to use. Maybe I'll put some of these laser switches in or something to test those out. So we'll come up with something, hopefully. If not, Sunday, I believe Jay has a build stream as well.
No, not this week, sadly.
Not this week?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so this week's the UK meetup, so I'm busy tomorrow preparing for the meetup. I'm actually running the thing on Saturday, so my whole weekend is kind of going to be around that, and then I have to go back and pay the venue on Sunday and tidy up and stuff like that, and probably ditch my car because I'm going to get drunk on Saturday night, let's be honest, so I'll have to go back and pick that up on Sunday, and I just won't have time to do the rest before work on Monday. So no build stream this week from me, but I will be doing a build stream a week on Sunday on one of the boards that's over there somewhere. I don't know which board yet, but there'll be a build stream. Yep. A week on Sunday.
Fantastic. And of course, we'll be here next week, Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, same as always. Until then, make sure you check below the stream. You join our official Discord, subscribe to our official YouTube channel, and then you frantically point fingers downwards like this, like I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
just do that for the rest of your day.
Do the thing, click the button, right?
Yeah, do the thing, click the buttons, send the monies.
Yeah, it's for everything, right?
Buy Pretty in Pink, darn it. And yeah. All right. Until next time, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Mwah.
Yeah. See you later, guys. Take care.